Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to another Sci-Fi Shadow Chat.
Lies.
I'm Justin.
Hey, how you doing? Can you
Yeah,
hear
not
me?
too bad, not too bad.
Uh,
So what's new, man?
Nothing much. You. Um, I put a new short story on the other YouTube channel yesterday.
Cool. I'm
Yeah,
on page 5 or 6 of the story after the story I'm supposed to be working on. So there's that.
yeah. Cheater.
I know I couldn't
uh,
help it. You all right?
Yeah,
What's wrong?
nothing.
What's up?
Have you gotten a thing?
Not from no, but I'm gonna let you know as soon as it happens. You want to come say hi to everybody?
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
emo.
Teenagers, right?
It's only Justin. Hello.
No, we have
Hey,
people watching. We're curious. How's it going?
I thought it says there's only one person. Oh, no, two people.
Yeah, we got 2 people watching. Woo! And thanks, folks. We're just getting started. We're going to be here for a
She
while.
wants you to mow the lawn or wants to know when you're going to mow
Not today,
the lawn. No!
well, yeah.
She says, why not? Tomorrow's going to be worse.
because I'm in the middle of a show. That's why.
Yeah.
It's,
Should have asked an hour ago.
yeah, could have done that. Could have done that. It's not like it's going to grow like even a fraction of an inch tonight. Just saying, it's not that bad. It's just trying to keep up with the Joneses, and we have one of the nicer yards in the neighborhood, so it can wait. But
We'll
yeah,
put a tire out in it.
they throw a tire out there. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe a broken toilet.
It's 100 and something right now out front, and I'm old, and at the very least, cut the old guy a break. I've been busy all day doing other chores, and well, it says it's 83, but I am not buying that.
I don't know. What's
No,
up with Bush?
87. Yeah. You don't have a lawn to mow, so
Well, yes, I do. I live on the ground floor, good sir. I have a good half acre,
oh
I
really?
think. Yes. But I live in a building, so I don't have to mow it. We have grounds guys for that.
Right. I used to mow lawns as a kid to earn money, and I've been doing it since I was younger than Jackie. As a matter of fact, as soon as I was able to push a mower, my old man fired the groundskeeper gardener we had and went out and bought a push mower. Not a gas mower, but a push mower.
Yeah,
And even after they found out I was allergic to everything in the front and backyard, instead of hiring him back, they got me a dust mask.
good parents.
Yeah. So I've mowed more lawns, believe it or not, than all the people in her family combined, which is, saying a lot. If you,
Yeah, especially 'cause she's Mexican.
I know I can count on you to bring that forward into the conversation.
You can't, you can't, you can't bring up mowing lawns with Mexicans without somebody being like, "What?"
No, I mean literally, I've done it tens of thousands of times, and
Yeah.
uh,
You sure you weren't the Mexican?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Although my old man probably could have passed as one because he was so dark, but
Yeah.
it's just
I can't wait until you send me that package, so I get your address, so I can send you something back. Because
fair enough.
I'm gonna send Jackie a T-shirt.
Yeah, Hungar said he was going to send him a shirt as well. Just make sure it's long sleeve or he'll never wear it. He's really weird about stuff like that. Although the other day I caught him in actual shorts and a tank top. I'm like,
Yeah.
have you seen Jackie? Because he's like, Amish, wearing the full freaking, everything covered, but, you know, hands, neck up, and ankles down. Uh, it's kind
Home
of weird.
Depot T-shirt.
Yeah. Because like When I was skinnier, I'd walk around in nothing but shorts, no shoes, no socks, no shirt, no hat, nothing. Just he's just like,
Yeah.
oh, you're naked. No, I'm a dude. This is how we're supposed to dress when it's hot. You don't put on more clothes. I don't know how they did it in the old West. It must have just
I
snapped
always wear the
how they have it.
same thing. I
That's
always
why
wear I always wear long pants and a shirt. Sometimes a t-shirt, but I know what you mean. Uh,
it must
I
have
got the wavy
reeked.
lines.
It must have reeked back in the old West and further back in time you go. Just saying.
Well, people had different standards of what bad odor was.
Yeah, that's why time traveling would just absolutely suck, wouldn't it? We'd get there and
Yeah,
just keel over.
maybe.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh,
Just walking around
you
with
get
clothes.
used to it fast, bro. You get used to bad odor fast.
I guess that'll explain a few countries that I'm aware of. Just no. Just
Mexico, Africa, other places I don't give a crap about.
hey, what's up, Raven? And
If
Cal, how you
if you
doing?
didn't get that, that was a Carl line from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
What Raven have to
Raven,
say? Oh, hey guys.
Cal.
Sorry we didn't have a game today, Cal, but without Grandma and our faithful priest, or excuse me, nun healer, yeah, I didn't feel so good about it, but I guess OG wasn't feeling well either. So next week or the week after, I don't know how that's going to work out. Hopefully,
Okay, maybe I ain't buying this shirt. I ain't spending $50 on $60 on a Home Depot T-shirt.
oh my god.
Yeah, well, it's the only one I can find.
Well, I was figuring. I bet this year in the Halloween department there'll be the orange apron suit.
Oh, I could probably see if they have those. Just to ask them at the Home Depot, is there any of those around that I can steal? You just
Yeah, it's not bad here, but I just got out of the shower and I got a regular show, which is weird because I scheduled a show like a couple hours ago
you
and it
can
didn't
figure out how
show.
to do that.
No,
Like
I know exactly how to do it,
yeah,
but
that's what changed because they changed the way that layout goes, right?
yeah, I didn't see it, or I thought because last time I just clicked it, it would just save it and automatically do it, and then I was looking for it, and yeah, I don't like the setup at all. It's like,
The new
why did
one.
you have to make it so complicated?
Yeah,
Wasn't broke, don't fix it kind of thing.
yeah. Maybe find the complaint button. And go. The old setup was better.
Yeah, yeah. Because like I set it up uh, like before dinner, which is at 4:30 my time. It's over 2 hours ago, uh,
Yeah,
almost 3 hours ago now, and I couldn't find it. And I went try to go in and edit it, and I'm like, of course you can't edit the first page, the important page. The
yeah.
second stuff is fine, but I'm like, why? So next time
I usually edit things by going into YouTube on the YouTube end because
is
you
there a
can.
place to edit the
Uh,
announcement or whatever you call it?
oh, the like the title and the when you go to your channel, right? You know how it says your channel on the
Mhm.
sidebar.
Yeah,
It brings up your videos. There's
right.
three dots,
Yeah.
and then you just
You hit
click on
edit.
that, and it brings up. Here, I'll
Is it the edit? Is it the edit function or is there a schedule function?
like you want to like change the picture and the name and the
Uh huh.
titles. But no, I don't know if you can like it doesn't show it up on YouTube right away anymore. It just waits until you go live.
Yeah, that's kind of weak.
Yeah,
I mean, you want to get people to
be aware of your show.
literally change their schedules. Like, oh, so and so's doing a show in so and so minutes. I better
Yeah,
you know uproot my entire schedule and change it so I can watch it or at least listen to it while I'm doing the thing.
Well, they do have the timer, right? Buried in this side of the screen for you in one of the settings things where
Mhm.
you change the background and all that
Yeah.
crap.
Mhm.
There's a timer, so you just like when you're sitting there for the 15 or so minutes before the show starts,
Mhm.
getting ready, just pop it up and set the timer.
Okay, I'll try that if the other stuff doesn't work.
Yeah,
Because
because
I
I
had
was
a
thinking
problem
about
with
that.
that for the Arduin video we did last week because George wanted to put an ad for it on Facebook. 3 days ahead of schedule, and that really helped draw people from Facebook over here. And it's streaming live on Facebook, but I know
Streaming live
nobody's.
on Facebook through their channel.
No,
Or
no, through mine, but they
oh,
advertised it on their website. Which
okay.
is a pay. They pay like 25 or 50 bucks to put the ad up for
Hmm.
3 days, and they don't have to do that.
Yeah.
That's cold hard cash they could put elsewhere. But
Well, it's 3 books, right? Like after printing costs and shipping,
yeah,
it's not a big deal.
yeah.
But I don't know. Once we get another person in here, I'm gonna run downstairs and make myself some hot dogs because I'm
Hot
hungry.
dogs, bacon wrapped.
No, I'd have to cook bacon. It'll take longer.
You just wrap them up and then fry them in the pan together.
Nah, I like to boil hot dogs.
Oh, okay,
I like to let them absorb the water and blow up.
gotcha. I
Then I'll
haven't done
crack them
that
open.
in forever.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, the link is in the link section at the top of our Discord. So if you want to come in and hang
So I
out,
can get something to eat,
yeah,
please.
yeah, he's just wasting away. He's wasting away before our very eyes. You're gonna come back and he's gonna be a skeleton.
Hey, look at that. A rare me on camera. It's all sexy and shit.
Yeah, I was thinking about going with TCG's topic, but he didn't send me any questions. Not like I ever do that. Um, but
Yeah.
for tonight, I did have uh, some stuff. It hit me. Want to say last night while I was writing, and it's weird. I don't know why the story that's currently occupying my brain is occupying my brain. I'm going to send it to you in a bit. I've only done the first chapter, but it's like 5 pages already, and
Well, if you're having trouble coming up with a topic for the show besides now, you can always just go over to ChatGPT and ask him for some topics.
I think I've only had a couple instances of that. Less than a handful. It's surprising how something comes at like the last, moment or so.
Yeah, it would be funny though if you did that. You shared the conversation on screen, and you're just like, check me cheat. Give me 5 topics for my my YouTube show about science fiction RPG games, and then let the audience pick what we're going to talk about.
We've been doing this like what almost 2 years now, probably.
Something like that.
So I think we've covered like everything Chat GPT would
You
be able
never
to.
know.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Oh,
So what's
you,
your new story about? And don't worry, folks, we will get to the topic. I'm just
I
waiting
don't
for.
even know what the topic is.
Oh, you don't?
Um, no, I don't check the thing, and it cuts off at Shadowcast
Yeah,
W.
yeah. I hate the way that does that. I
Yeah, well, you
understand.
have too long of a fucking title for the show, right?
Not always, but sometimes. I mean,
I'm just saying we don't need to know that it's Saturday night, bro.
yeah, yeah. But I know you hate Saturday Night Live, but I like being able to say Saturday night. Uh,
You can still say it.
like live from New York. It's Saturday night. I growing up as a kid, that was just, we were just waiting for it. My old man and I every Saturday night, uh, for whoever to say that. It was just, This is one of those goofy things that
Yeah.
that they trained us to appreciate or to enjoy with their programming.
Yes, yes, they're insidious programming. Um, the news story for. Oh, I'm gonna close this. Um, I
Is it
hate
the
that they
airship
don't.
one?
What?
Is it an airship one that you're writing?
No, I haven't started that yet.
Okay.
I've got some ideas. I actually put effort into those, unlike the ones for bone spears and starships. It's just an idea, a concept,
You just run with it. Well,
and then I tell the robot to write it.
you're actually getting more views than most of the people we know with that channel. Just
Yeah,
just
well, that's exactly why I created it. I saw a bunch of those channels pop up, and I was like, I can do that too. I can also press a button repetitively and come up with like stupid ideas. Um,
no, they don't seem. They're not. I wouldn't call them stupid.
well,
There's not enough good sci-fi out there, and there's not even enough bad sci-fi out there. Although, good news on the home front.
bad
I
sci-fi will be coming from us.
Yes, I
We've
found
named credit to the bad sci-fi genre now on.
we've got Roku here, and it turns out there's a crap ton of stuff on it. I couldn't find Miami Vice
Yeah,
for free or Kolchak, but I was able to find some of the movies, and then I got sucked into watching Greatest American Hero, the pilot, just because you know.
the worst superhero show ever made.
Yeah, but it had Connie Selica in it, and it had Robert Culp in it. William Cat, is that was his name? Can't stand the son of a bitch, but he
The
reminds
man
me of
that actually played.
the hero. Yeah,
Yeah,
he reminds me so much of someone I grew up with. It's like it's like spit and image almost, except for the hair. I'm just like I miss that dude, So I was
yeah,
just pretending, that's Lauren, my friend.
yeah, yeah.
But it was cute, It was a cute, you know. Although it was weird. Do you remember it at all?
I briefly, I'd always do my best to skip past it because
Yeah,
there was other
exactly.
stuff on.
Uh, it uh, uh, it was kind of scary. Uh, the uh, the political implications of the very first story. Everything else is all, you know, 80s, welcome back Cotter kind of vibe going on. And then you've
Yeah,
got these skinheads and an attempted assassination of the president and just and
I wish.
religious extremists. And it was just like, wow, this is pretty hardcore, Uh, but then again, it was what Stephen Cannell or whatever his name was, the guy who was behind it. So, yeah, and the song I was
The song
remembering.
was catchy.
I literally had the 45 back as a kid, and I bet if I could find it, which I might be
Sliders.
able to, my original copy, and it's not all scratched to shit. That's probably worth quite a bundle, probably easy $50 for the original 33, or was it a 45? It was a 45. Uh, the singles
Mm-hmm.
records.
I
Uh,
know what a 45 is.
Okay, I know. I was trying to remember which was which. Was the 33 the big one? Yes, I think so, because it's 33 RPM revolutions per minute, and the smaller one
Yeah,
is more revolution.
45.
Yeah. So it was a nice little blast back into the past. But I found not only did our Roku have stuff like that, but it's got like a lot of things that I was looking for. I could find Man Who Fell to Earth, and a few others I was looking for. I
Yeah.
didn't really type too many because I was going through all the different channels, and uh, there were like a crap ton of old movies I'd never heard of.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing all next week. So that's
Just
kind of
like picking a random one and watching it.
Maybe,
Um,
or well, I'm going to probably go through my list if I can actually find it. I've got my list of cop shows here, but I had a list of sci-fi movies that's now probably a bookmark in one of the 12 books I'm reading right now. I will go through it and type in the things that are on my list that I really want to watch, like Future World and a few others. I just saw
Future World.
Westworld recently,
The movie or the TV show?
the movie. The movie.
Okay, the TV show's supposed to be pretty good. At least the first season
Which
of
one?
it.
Future World or Westworld?
Westworld.
Westworld was very interesting the first couple of episodes. After that, I don't know what happened, but of course, after that, I also heard that it got kind of woke or whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it.
season 2 and 3 are supposed to be like weird.
And I'm noticing that being a trend over the last like say 2 years. There'd be a show that would come out and be great the first year or two, and then once they knew they had you, they'd be like, "Oh, now we're going to throw in all the stuff," just to
Yeah,
kind of
that's actually been a thing since the '90s. If you pay attention,
really,
yeah, it's one of those things where it wasn't as aggressively in your face.
yeah.
Like there wasn't the background politics in your day to day life of it, so it didn't bother you as much.
Mhm.
But it was there in the '90s. Um, but I was just looking up. You ever watch the show My Secret Identity?
No, never even heard of it.
No, maybe. Is Jerry O'Connell? You were talking about America, the American Great. What was that show fucking called? You just
Greatest
mentioned
American Hero.
Greatest American Hero. Um, and My Secret Identity was like that, but without the stupid costume. Uh, and it was a teenager instead of an adult.
This sounds vaguely familiar, but I'm also thinking of the John Ritter movie Hero at Large, where
I don't.
he was just a regular dude, John Ritter, totally,
Yeah.
the last guy who would be a hero, and he just put on a suit. He had no powers whatsoever, and just did heroic things.
Yeah.
It was
I don't remember that. I
I,
don't think I
I
ever
I
saw that.
I actually had the paperback for whatever reason, just because back in the day I had a lot of weird paperbacks. Um,
Reasonable.
for TV shows and movies. Like I had the paperback for When Worlds Collide and After Worlds Collide, which I also saw on Roku. Not After Worlds Collide, which would have been mind blowing for the 1950s.
Yeah, too complicated. I heard you talk about it before.
Yeah, it would be impossible and it would look like crap. A lot of cardboard stage, backgrounds that would not
Hmm.
relay the idea. I remember Stephen J. Cannell played Dutch Dixon in Renegade. Really, because I thought he was just like a producer or whatever.
Renegade.
Hmm.
1992 or
I guess so. I vaguely remember that show. Um, the guy on the motorcycle.
Lorenzo Lamos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry, I knew a sneeze was coming on, so I couldn't respond. Um,
Dutch Dixon.
yeah,
I don't.
it's on Roku somewhere. That's
Well,
where I saw it. It was. I think it only ran one or two seasons, but it was there. I should look for the
what
logo.
show?
Greatest American Hero.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to the show, Richard.
Richard.
I wonder where Doc is. I haven't seen him in a while. And Grumpy Old Slan and George, where the
Yeah.
hell are you? Get your butt in here. Help me out here.
Yeah.
So
I'm
Justin,
hungry,
did you
bro.
like some hot dogs? Yeah,
Yeah.
we had tacos tonight.
Burritos.
Yeah, Jackie's going through this
Or
weird thing where
tacos, maybe. I don't know. Soft shell, right? Just like the beef and the cheese and the salsa and lettuce and onion or whatever.
yeah.
You just put it together yourself.
Yeah, Renegade was interesting. Oh, I also saw that Andromeda was there, and that one show we were talking about. Uh,
Andromeda is like it's hokey. Working George, huh? What the hell is this working you speak of?
yeah, I mean, can't you do both? I mean, Justin is.
Well,
What was that? What was that other
I'm on
show we were talking
vacation.
about? Uh, Earth Final Conflict, I think it was.
Earth Final Conflict,
Season one of that was on there.
just season one. Okay, yeah,
Well,
that's the only season worth watching.
yeah. Well, I
The show
wanted to see
falls
how
apart.
it ended. To see what the big mystery was behind the weird bald aliens. Uh,
Yeah, season one is the only season worth watching. Get the
well,
book.
I, I
Gene Roddenberry wrote it. It's a book. Get the book.
I suspect that on Roku they don't show you season two or season three until after you've watched season one.
I don't know. No, usually they those systems don't do
It'll say
that.
like how many seasons. That's a shame.
Yeah, that means they just don't have the rights to it.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they're waiting for X number of people to watch it so they know it's worthwhile.
Uh,
And it, you know how much I hate commercials, but they do a thing on Roku that I actually like. If they're going to do commercials, they tell you how many commercials and roughly how many seconds you've got to run and go pee or grab a snack or do something like that. Um,
yeah. Oh,
so that's kind of cool. And
I think they also have a thing where you can like pay them and not have to watch commercials.
yeah, which is I'm never going to do that. I can always find a way around that. But I heard this morning that Google's going to ban like all ad blockers,
Yeah, they've been trying to do that forever. So
and I'm like, you know, as much as I hate them, commercials that is, I get it. I mean, how are you going to run one of these businesses without your sole source of income, and then let people just deny you that source of income and get your product for free? Uh,
yeah,
it's a double-edged sword. They're bringing, assuming you love what you're watching, Babylon 5's on there as well. Most of the movies and a couple of the seasons, I want to say, but I've got it all on DVD, so I can just pop it in. Uh,
yeah. Well, I told you right. Like I used to have these shelves here that I've shown you before,
yeah,
full of my DVDs. They're all packed up in fucking milk crates or whatever, right?
yeah.
Um, and it was like 15 steps away from where my DVD player was, my
Okay.
computer. And it was literally faster. Like I timed it. It was faster for me to download and start watching than it was to go over to the shelf, pick season one up, bring it over, and pop it into the player. And that's not even going through the menu.
Hmm.
And you know how fucking annoying going through DVD menus are.
Can be.
Yeah.
I,
And and
I,
it
I,
was a higher quality image.
yeah, I can see that. Especially since my DVD player cost me like $22, from Walmart.
Yeah. No, mine cost 250.
Yeah, I've had really nice DVD players in the past. I also had a really nice 5 disc CD
Oh,
changer,
I had one of those in the computer, and it was great.
wasn't it?
I loved it.
Whether or not you just tell it what order to play the discs in, which was fun because certain, especially if you're like playing, the first five or five CDs from a band in order, so you can just go, okay, I'm just going to listen to nothing but so and so today.
Well,
Boom.
I have them all on hard drive now, music, right? And I go through and I make sure I date the albums. So the instead of the album name, it's the date it came out
Oh, okay,
in brackets, then the album name. That way, they always fucking play in order.
smart.
Uh, yeah, and if two albums came out the same year, it's like that year
That was pretty
A,
rare
that
back in the
year
day.
B.
Uh,
There's a few. It happened a few times. I've got
oh
maybe
yeah,
four or
I
five
know because
instances of it.
1972, Blue Oyster Cult put out their second and third album, which
Yeah,
was the
that's
same
one
year
case.
Jim Morrison died, which is weird. But
Uh, fuck, what's his name from Seger.
Oh,
His
really?
first two albums came out the same year. Uh, Maybe it's his second and third as well. Yeah, it doesn't fucking matter. Uh, but yeah, it's happened. So what the fuck is the topic? Because
Oh, oh,
I
oh,
have to
oh.
go look it up.
Oh, okay, sorry. It's what are the great mysteries in your sci-fi RPG game? You know,
What's Shadow's name?
right? The uh,
Uh,
the genre of science fiction has always been about discovery and exploration and pushing the human condition to the next level, whether it be through science or chemistry or what have you. Bionics and cybernetics and all kinds of different advances, as well as uh, pushing the philosophical.
Science fiction's always about questions, where fantasy's about characters.
Yes.
And it's really good when you have both in one of those.
Mhm.
Like character and question, or question and
Whereas,
character.
like you said, fantasy is all about the
Uh,
characters. I'm reading a book right now, and I'm like, I want to like it, I really do, but
what's it called?
it's by Razor Fist. I forget the long Twilight or something like that, and there are constant euphemisms that would not be used in a fantasy
You're saying
world,
that.
and but there's also I forget what they're called, like an asterisk, and then down at the bottom of the page is the explanation. When it would have
Oh,
just been better to put it in the story. I think
yeah.
if you're gonna explain to the audience what this race is or that thing is, couldn't you just now I gotta go interrupt when I'm doing and going, oh, thank you for defining the thing that I didn't know what it was. Now where was I? Oh yeah, at the
Yeah,
asterisk.
you need to work that into the story. Like that's the kind of thing you put in like a rough draft,
Mhm.
right? Maybe your third draft
Get your ass in here, TCG. We're
to
waiting for a
create
half hour for you.
to create notes, right? Like it's like he put out a second or third draft instead of the finished product. You know what I mean?
It's not awful, but I'm old and jaded, and there's like only one girl in the story, and she's gorgeous, so she's gonna hook up with the main guy. It's like, don't do that.
Sounds like a book I'm writing on the side right now.
I learned a long time ago, like for example, like in our game,
Yeah,
if you notice that most of the NPCs are women.
yeah.
I do that so that it
I thought it
doesn't.
was because you were a cock.
No, because it's like one of the big criticisms even I had for the Lord of the Rings, there just weren't enough women, and all the women you knew what was gonna who they were gonna hook up with and things like
There were
that.
plenty of women. They just weren't in the party.
Well,
Like
they
you
weren't
don't
even
need
much.
women are there to be seen, not heard from.
I think it should be at least a third
If you don't have
of
the
the characters.
sexual mentality of someone in 1642, you're doing it wrong.
I understand, but it's just when I was watching the movie, I was like, okay, well, a little more eye candy wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, well, it's not a porno.
I understand.
If you want erotica, I will sell you a book.
I just bought like eight, nine gore books. I'm good. Um,
That's not erotica.
oh,
That's
I know.
posing.
But like within Lord of the Rings, none of the women in it were my type, and the most attractive I thought was actually Rosie, and that does
She was
nothing
only 4 foot tall,
right. I
or
like
three,
4'9",
3'5".
4'11", 5 foot ish. At least 5 foot. Nothing. But she just had a cuter face. Liv Tyler, looks not even human, or like her dad, which same thing, not even human. And Eowyn, just nothing.
Arwen. The fuck, what's her name?
Theoden's
Uh,
daughter.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But not his. Was it his daughter or was?
No, because she's the one that they make that stupid new TV show about. Um,
You get my point.
the one that was scrying in the pool, right? Trying to think of the actress's
No, no,
name.
no, 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 no. That's Galadriel.
Galadriel, yeah.
She's the one who kills the Witch King because he says no man may harm me.
Oh yeah. Rose, was it Rose?
I don't know.
She narrated a book I like, but I can't remember what one. Da, 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 da. Shouldn't be hard for me to find. I got Lord of the Rings all over the cover of IMDb right now.
No, really. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
actually a channel.
season 2 of
Rings of Power.
Waste of Time is out.
No.
Uh, you should pronounce it how it's supposed to be pronounced.
Right. I am whatever you just said. IMDb, whatever, is
Yeah.
actually a channel I think on Roku.
Um. Yeah, they have like interviews and shit. I think.
Yeah, but I was quite happy because Amazon and Netflix, which I pay for, sucks ass. Just
Yeah.
every once in a while I'll see something. It's like, yeah, cool, but it's just.
Oh,
Oh, you
what
know
was
what? I
that
think
called?
even Blake Seven is on
Blake
Roku.
7. Yeah. Uh,
So it looks like I'll be
Keyboard
uh,
Chat.
maybe watching more than just the 2 hours while I write. You
That
know,
was the third movie where what's her name kills the Witch King, right?
I believe it's in the Return of the King.
Okay, that would be the third one, and I'm on the second one.
Gotcha.
Uh,
What's up,
because
buddy?
her name is gonna bug me because it's like right there, right?
Uh-huh.
And nobody wants Justin distracted all night. That's no kinds of fun.
Well, it keeps you from leaving me here all by my lonesome going to make a hot dog or two.
I will do that too.
I don't blame you. I can.
Miranda Otto.
Never heard of it.
Uh, that's her name. She was in a bunch of stuff that you've probably seen.
She. I remember when I saw her. She looked familiar, but she also reminds me of that other actress that I cannot stand. That does
Mm.
like hundreds of Lifetime movies a year. Um,
Lifetime movies are great, man. If I knew the people to
really,
set up, if I knew the people like camera people and a few actors, I would fucking make Lifetime movies.
you're joking.
No, you can make one of those in a weekend and sell it to Lifetime
I
as long as you're
suppose.
following the structure
Gotcha.
that they have, and they will buy that off you. And I'm saying like if you got the camera and you got a couple of actors, that's fast money. No,
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
if you are a struggling film writer out there, write a Lifetime flick. They will buy it from you.
Yeah,
Or
I
one of the other Lifetime equivalent companies will.
Hallmark or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. They do a couple of prestige projects a year, and then they buy whatever comes across their desk.
Hmm.
And they have their own streaming service, so they're filling it with something. Along with their channel that has to be playing crap 24/7. Yeah. So mysteries and sci-fi.
Yep.
You can
That.
always do like what's behind the Dyson sphere.
Well, I meant like the
Are there
great ones.
grays?
Uh, I was thinking, like, is there a God? What happens when you die? Um, what's at the edge of the galaxy, what's at the center of the galaxy, which those some of those things have been touched by sci-fi movies. Not all of them. There are other ones as well. How far can you push the human psyche or the human body, or how long can you live? How long is too long to live? There's the one of the great things about sci-fi is you can explore those topics in writing, as obviously has been done, but in your RPGs, it just seems like that, if you've got a good group and it's not just about uh, you know shoot the bad guys, rescue the princess, Star Warsian kind of crap, or just D&D type of urban city crime stuff, or the misconception of Traveler, where it's buying and selling and just going back and forth to planets, trying not to get busted for smuggling QPOs
Yeah.
or whatever, dumb stuff like that. Is the better, more epic science fiction
Well,
always.
I have no problem with that, but there's got to be like some kind of like backdrop thing. Um, there is a guy named Jack Campbell. His pen
Okay.
name. Write that down. Um, he has a series, like an ongoing series that has the weirdest love triangle in it, but it's not really important to what we're talking about. Um,
Well, actually, not necessarily. That could be a big one, for the right group or the wrong group. Avengers
yeah.
group, can a three-way work?
Uh,
Just tease Avenger. But
yeah.
it gives you and your friends, your players, the opportunity to explore these things. Now, uh, we'd probably go at it differently with 2, 3, 4D, whatever shenanigans, but
Yeah.
uh, it's one of those things that you can't really, some of those things you can't really leave up to the players because they're not going to agree. You kind of have to, if they're going to, like, if they decide they want to discover something, or explore something, I should say, then one guy's got to be the referee and go, okay, well, this is the thing, this is the answer in this universe, this
Yeah.
galaxy or multiverse, or however you
So
cordon off your gaming sphere, as it were.
so um Jack Campbell has a series, um, which is odd because his main character is Jack as well. Is a pen name, right?
Mhm.
Jack. So Blackjack Geary is the character of this series called The Last Fleet, and then there's like what happened afterwards series and another series. The Last Fleet is a really good. It's a little long. It's about 6 books, but
Hmm.
and then there's like three more books, then three more books, then four more books, then a spin-off. You don't need to worry about that shit.
Right.
Um, and he it opens up with him waking up from cryostasis, and
Right.
then it's been like 300 years or something stupid like that, and he's like this legendary hero because he did something right before he went into cryostasis that he can barely remember.
Okay.
It's like, I'm a hero for what now?
And he can barely remember that before going in or coming out of.
Like he just did something offhand,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And it changed like the whole outcome of a battle. And then he wakes up several years later, and his the
Exploits are legendary now.
legend, like beyond legendary, and legendary because so much of the upper crust of the military he was part of was like wiped out in this war that's still going on. Um, right, with one
Okay.
side of like a free peoples and the other side is like a corporate autocracy.
Okay.
Um, and both of the sides really don't know why they're still fighting or what started the war in the first place, or anything, and every time it
How long
looks
was he asleep?
like a few hundred years.
Oh dear God.
Yeah, it's an interstellar war, right? And
Mhm.
there's new technology that's come along, but because anybody that knows anything about war fighting gets killed in stupid maneuvers right away, it's being done by like absolute idiots, and like military structures broken down and everything, right? Like, so like the reason for saluting has been forgotten, shit like that.
Mhm.
It's like it's a really interesting series because he struggles to rebuild order in the force. The guy that wrote it was a JAG officer,
Okay.
so he has a lot of like
You had to put the
bureaucratic
ER at
understanding.
the end of it.
ER.
Yes, sir. I
Oh,
see ER because I
okay,
just
yeah.
wait. What? Oh, okay. Never mind.
Oh,
Jag off.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
What's up, James?
yeah. So yeah, the Lost Fleet is an interesting series, and like what you're talking about with like the mystery of things in your sci-fi universe,
Mhm.
because there's always like some like, why are we doing this? Why is it being done that way? How did that happen? So why are we still fighting? Um, yeah. If you can find them, those books, that they're really worth, like, pick up the first one at a thrift shop or something like that. See if you like it. If you do, because there is like this weird love triangle between uh, Blackjack and the captain of the flagship and the political officer. And it's like, political officer, yeah. But
Okay.
things have gone so fucking weird that I think she was supposed to be an ambassador for something, but I don't know. Shit goes upside down, and there are these like these jump gates that were introduced after he went to cryostasis, and he doesn't trust them, and it's good that he doesn't trust them, so it prolongs the journey back to Alliance space and all that crap. It's really worth. I'm doing my best not to give away the ending,
Okay.
like the actual conspiracy, because you might read these things. I doubt it, but you might. Anyone out there, I highly recommend giving the first 6 books a shot.
First 6 books.
Yeah. Well, the main story wraps up in those books, and then the writer just like went back to the universe, right? Because the characters are still around, kicking, and unlike other writers, he's actually competent enough to like create interesting things for them to do. There are enough side threads that weren't relevant to the story that are like active and going.
Gotcha.
I've mentioned this series before with one of the alien races that pop up in one of the other series, um, which are like, they look like teddy bears, but they're
Mhm.
cows, and because they evolve from cows, they have cow herd mentality.
Right.
I don't know if you
Know that.
know a lot about like wild cows, but they
Not
kill everything. Anything that they can perceive to be a threat, they herd on. And I don't know if you've
Stampede.
seen the stampede, right? So, and because they're herd animals, they like to be close to each other for comfort and security.
Right.
And this race is like that. So they build like their small starships are like small moons because they just want to keep so many of their race together.
Okay.
And then like anything that isn't them, they just destroy. And these are just like an innocuous threat out there. Like they've got no actual. They're not part
Intentions.
of. They're not part of the conspiracy or anything like that. They're just like one of those races that are just unnecessarily aggressive because it's the way they evolved.
So of course they've got to go and
No, no, no. There's just a footnote in one chapter.
gotcha. So what if you were running a sci-fi game? Would you uh, would you encourage or uh, tease the players with one of the great mysteries of existence?
I would actually pepper many of them in and just not let them become unnecessary plot hooks unless the players wanted them to.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's.
just you make sure you remember what the fuck they are.
Mhm.
You know, um,
Do any of them strike your fancy right off the bat, or you're just open minded toward whatever the players want to explore? Because
yeah, right.
that's
Like
what sci-fi is all about is exploration, whether it's outer space or the inner mind.
yeah, it's about
There's
concepts and exploring them. Yeah, yeah. Pepper the world with different loose threads and let the players explore the ones they want to until they're like, okay, I'm bored of this, and either you end the game there or they pick up another thread if they remember it. But don't be like, don't be the egotistical game master that's like, I thought of something clever. I'm gonna ram it down your throat now
yeah, yeah. Uh,
because
and I realize some of them are incredibly controversial, like is there a god and what happens when you die? And I know since this is a game, most people would probably be like no and nothing, make up a new character. But there have been there's been a lot of sci-fi, even some fantasy and fiction and horror that you know
we yeah, we need to get
explores
someone
these
else in
topics.
here though.
What?
We need to get someone else in here though.
Okay, well, guys, you know where the link is. Justin, I think, is about to shrivel up and die of hunger.
Well, I also
So,
gotta take a wicked piss.
oh, okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay,
Uh,
filibuster until I
the
get
link
back.
is over in my Discord in the link section. If you guys want to come in and help Justin and me out, discuss some of these big brain topics. I, I'm amazed how often that the players themselves have, you know, sought the answer to these things, even though when the game's over, it doesn't amount to a hill of beans. Is there a God? That's up to each and every individual player. But I do appreciate when the players sort of think outside the normal character sheet box. That's they're only caring about, and I'm guilty of this too. I just asked Bo, only caring about what's on my sheet. My character just wants this and only has these goals, etc., because that's what he's good at. Therefore, that's what he wants to do, or this is what he's not really good at, or they're not very good at. So they want to maybe improve themselves to be the old Swiss Army knife character that can do everything and anything and don't need anybody else. Which you'll soon find that that's not the way most people actually live and think. Obviously there's the preppers out there like myself that want to be self-sufficient and want to be able to do anything and not need anybody. But you know what? That's when life's going to throw you into those situations where you in fact absolutely need another person. You break your leg or get injured to a certain point, you're not operating on yourself past a certain point. Obviously, a little bit of stitching up here and there, but trying to set your own leg, forget it's not going to happen. You know,
With enough Vicodin,
and some
you'll
rope,
pass
and,
out.
you know, some rope and a tree stump. Maybe you could do it, but do you really want to? I mean, no, just give me something to bite on. Do the thing. I'm going to pass out afterward. I can endure a couple of seconds to minutes of pain, and then I'll wake up and everything will be good, or I'll be walking through the pearly gates, right? So,
Yep.
but the reason I was asking about like God and the afterlife and things like that is because sometimes in stories, whether it be science fiction or fantasy, there's this thing like karma or destiny or even the gods or God or however you want to look at it. Things just sort of turn out right. I've seen it happen in my games. Stuff I never intended, like never wrote beforehand or planned on. Things just like fall into place, like
Mm.
perfectly. The players are like, okay, sorry I missed your noise alerting us to your presence. Welcome to the show, George.
I did
Uh,
not hear it either.
that was weird. But maybe it's a new feature from Restream. Uh,
Oh,
no
yeah.
shade, Restream. We appreciate you doing this for free for us. How's it going, George?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
good.
So what do you think of the topic?
What was the topic? I'm sorry. I was just trying to. I was having a little trouble with my
Mysteries in your
headphones.
sci-fi universe.
Yeah, like the great
Ah.
mysteries. What happens
Oh
when you
yeah.
die? What's on the outside edge of the galaxy? When does space end? What's at the center of the universe? Um,
Yeah. Usually it's something
What
in
was
the
Spock's?
history,
Yeah.
like just like a preview. Like I always like the idea of like Earth has been forgotten and sort of this what happened to it is kind of a cool little trope of like, why don't they have a memory of Earth? What is there? And that might be some sort of thing that ties it to the present. Is the
Yeah.
like
mysteries?
why did they leave the Earth?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great one. And it's usually because it's a pollution or some
Yeah.
dopey
Or
crap
Gay
like
thing
that.
like that.
yeah, or like Planet of the Apes. That's
Mhm.
sort of
Yeah.
the big mystery at the end. Well, it wasn't even a mystery. It just sort of, you know, hit you out of nowhere.
Well,
Yeah.
are you talking the original
The
Chuck
the
Heston?
the
Yeah.
Iranians killed all the dogs.
Well, it was actually Cornelius and Zira that killed
Yeah.
all the dogs and cats.
Yeah, but they blamed it on
They ate
Iranians
them.
or whatever.
No, they didn't
Yeah.
eat them. They brought back a disease that killed them. The
Yeah.
very disease.
The one that they blamed on the Iranians.
Like whatever happened to those alien bugs from Star Trek: The Next Generation? I want those things back in canon. You mean the
Yeah.
hydrons? The hydrons?
Was that what they were called? The
I think
little
so.
spike on the back of the neck?
Crafting Gamer. I'm not sure. If he's talking the original series, I think that's what it was.
No,
And
no, no. The Next Generation.
Next generation.
No, yeah, Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I don't remember. I don't
STTNG.
remember. Brian,
Uh,
why don't you come on in too?
yeah, because now that
And
there's
welcome to the
people
show,
here,
TCG. And not like your chopped liver or anything, but I haven't seen Brian in forever.
I
And
will
we're
be
going to be
back
neighbors
in
soon.
15 to 20 minutes.
No worries.
Well, Justin's
Good.
taking a shit.
No, he's going to make hot dogs, and
Yeah,
then you know,
I'm gonna go make some jumbo hot dogs.
you're making me hungry. So TCG.
Yeah.
What do you think in your game? Because it's kind of sci-fi ish, sci-fi fantasy. Are there any great mysteries out there for the players to discover? Like what happens when
Oh
you
yeah.
die, or how far can you push the you know the human
Well,
spirit, soul, body, mind? Um,
well, one of the
what's at the
great
center of the earth?
mysteries. Oh, that's actually about to say that's one of the great mysteries because it's all clouds. Other than the pressure level, which humans can survive, but ships can't. No, it's
You
possible for
can.
humans to go to the center of the quote unquote center of the earth. It's a great ball landmass at the center. And one of the mysteries they can solve down there is both the big creatures and the fact there's actually a civilization down there of people who have fallen and somehow survived because it's the middle layer between the clouds you can't pass above to the clouds you can't pass below is 1,000 miles, and the clouds below isn't much shorter than that to the deep black clouds that no one can see the center of the earth with.
Okay.
But there's also very visible mysteries, like there are islands above you, above the upper cloud layer, that you don't know what's on them. You can only see from a kind of a decent angle, and you can see maybe they have some green on them. But the moment you get too close, so you lose that angle, and because it's above where you see, all you see is dirt. So those are just two, and I also a mechanic in the game that I try to figure out how to word properly. What I'm stealing it from Skies of Arcadia are the discoveries, unique or at the very least very interesting things, such as Allspice Island that you find in Skies of Arcadia. It literally has every spice in the world growing on it, but there's only one of those. So the game is, I'm trying to build in the fact that the game master can do mega mysteries for the game, because I didn't really feel like dealing with religion with this game, partially because it was based off Skies of Arcadia, which didn't have a religious feel to it, and there are certain things I chose to cut out of this book to simplify it for me to make, and religion was one of them.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Most sci-fi rarely actually touches on it. Babylon 5 was one of the few that even acknowledged, albeit maybe Star Trek had philosophies, but nothing divine. Although you can argue that the Q or that weird guy who played the piano with the mirrors might have been divine, or maybe he was just a Q. But what about like the human mysteries, the conditions of life itself? What are the limits you can push yourself physically, mentally? Is there something afterwards? That's one of the biggies. Why does God need a starship? That was classic.
I think Quantum Leap went into the divine and stuff like that. I
I
usually
never
don't
got
like.
to see the end of it, but that's on my list.
Yeah, it's basically what they're doing is going around and cleaning up messes in the timeline. But it wasn't like they intended to do that. They didn't make a machine to do that. It just sort of they make this time travel machine where you go into the body of a person in the past
Right.
but it's only within your lifetime. So like I couldn't go before like 1971, I think. And what's his name was limited. It's kind of similarly the main character. Though in a later episode they get swapped with his assistant. Like, well, I don't know if he's his assistant, but the other guy, the guy that's sort of a hologram walking around, they get swapped. Sam, that's it. Thank you.
Dean
And
Stockwell.
and
Great actor.
he was in like Dune and stuff. And so he and like they had all these like their computer was prepared for dealing with before a certain date for I guess Scott Bakula's lifetime.
Right.
But they get Dean Stockwell. They switch. Sam and him switch, and they don't have the information of like the 10 years of extra that they have to deal with the mystery.
Was that the name of that one? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
That was a good episode.
No, Brain Scan, where they record memories and someone died and they saw him going into heaven. That would be like.
Oh, that was like
huge.
That was
a huge revelation.
There was one movie with like kind of all the kind of Brat Pack actors like Keith Sutherland and stuff, and I think oh gosh, who's the woman? Who plays the
are you talking about Flatliners?
Flatliners, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because when you get into sci-fi and you start getting into the brain, let's just call it. There's a million and one mysteries just locked up in our own heads, and especially if you want to go into Raven's favorite topics, the woo woo. Actually, I did a couple of shows with her about that. There are things people can do, here on Earth that we don't consider, anything other than just weird. Like that. Okay, here's an example. One that we talked about. If you wake up a minute before your alarm goes off, like every day, that's kind of like a superpower. It's a really weak superpower, but not everybody can do it. But how does your brain know? You know what I mean? Think about it. Does your brain have an inner clock that you're unaware of, and it's telling you, hey, the alarm's going to go off. You might as well just get up now. What the heck? A minute? What's a minute, right? And then you wake up and you see the alarm and you go, fuck, one more minute, man. I wanted that minute. I was having this great dream or whatever. Even dreams themselves are weird. There's,
when it comes to mysteries, sorry.
Go ahead.
When it comes to mysteries of humans, I think I've only listened to a couple of them, so I haven't gotten that deep. But I think the series Humans Are Space Orcs kind of really paints how mysterious humans can be to anything non-human. They don't just even it's AI generated, I'll admit, but it kind of in some of them questions why the humans are the way they are, and everyone's like, "Holy shit!"
Mike,
Like-
see, you know what I'm talking about.
Like an excellent example in one of the. I should read this one yet. I haven't found it, but I heard a story from it. There is one of the books where the aliens see a video of a human getting his arm blown off, picking it up, and then beating the guy who blew his arm off to death with his own arm.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
I
aliens
think
can't understand because they don't have adrenaline like we do. So it's a real mystery.
Well, maybe. I mean, that's a you know.
Well, it's in the book. I'm not saying that's how it's if aliens exist in real life. My suspicion is if aliens exist in real life, they'd probably be very human-like in their attitude towards war.
I have this other idea. I've noticed that it seems like every alien we've ever come across, with a few exceptions, are often just evolution taking a different path. Instead, like here on Earth, it could have been the dinosaurs that evolved into tool users, and that's where we draw the line. All creatures, everything we know of, with a few minor exceptions, don't use tools, and we were like almost designed to need tools, and that need, being the mother of invention, forced us to think and be able, and adapt in order to survive. The saber-toothed tiger, he didn't need a tool. He was never going to need a tool, ever.
Well,
And
on the subject
many
of that,
He needs a toothpick.
well, on that subject, I bring up slightly religion here. I believe in both evolution and God. God one day, I don't know if I won't say God killed the dinosaurs. It just might have happened, and he's like, well, I need to use this planet for something else. Man sprung up, and he's like, I can make this in my image. And then he mankind in its earliest stages, and then he quote unquote uplifted humans by putting them down a different evolutionary path, ensuring that they evolved into us.
Mm-hmm. Well, because if we trace our, if and you believe in evolution, we can trace ourselves back to a very specific animal that wasn't humans, right?
Right.
And this is the same could be hypothesized with any other world. Like I was saying with dinosaurs. Like what was it? Wing Commander, with their enemy with the cats. Okay, there were some sort of big cat that evolved to be the dominant species, and eventually they decided, hey, let's make some tools and do some other stuff besides just eating, boinking, and sleeping and crapping.
Yeah.
And all of the other aliens that aren't just humans with rubber stuff glued to their face to make them look different, those tend to be like the same thing as humans that evolved on a planet where they needed those extra head ridges or pointy ears or whatever, but they were kind of like
need doesn't have a lot to do. It doesn't have always to do, I should say, with evolution. For example, for the Klingons, the ridges are a evolutionary trait of what attracted the other mate. Like in different regions of the world, you have different hair colors that evolved through people getting more attracted to that color.
Right. And there could be some survival advantage for having those things, because of the heat or the weather or something like that. It was just advantageous. So, next thing you know, everybody's got the same kind of hair or skin or some other minor cosmetic feature that's not that big a deal now, but back then maybe it kind of was a feature, not a bug, or just an advantage.
Well, I forgot. I think it was a PBS special before PBS went completely woke. There was talking about the different marriage license that you got back in the Middle Ages, because they had them back then too. most of the time the women were fair skinned and fair hair. Bleh.
Mhm.
Most of the time, the men would choose women who represented that area now, like how the Irish look and all that. Sorry,
Mhm.
part of the reason I didn't come on earlier is because I had to take some pain medication and I wait for it to kick in. And dear God, this shit kicks my ass.
Oh well, you know we love you when you're medicated. So just saying. Me too.
Honestly, I don't
Yeah.
like being medicated. It's you can't
Good
think.
for you. Good for you. That's a dangerous road to go down, and it really doesn't lead anywhere other than to the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to put a bookmark in the whole sort of slightly off superpower, not superpowers, like you're saying about waking up early. And there was one, and I wish Raven was on because she'd probably know more about it. Is
Well, I am
the
her manager, so I'm probably qualified to help you with that.
so the notion that you can see when you're being watched.
Oh yeah,
And,
that's absolutely a thing.
yeah, and it's like
It-
yeah, and like and it's not even like, oh, maybe there's somebody in the room looking at you. It's like, no, like they put video cameras on people remotely, and people know when the person is watching the monitor
yep.
versus not being watched on the monitor.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's
You should go check out that episode if it's still available on Raven's show. I'll try to hook you up with that.
mhm,
I did an episode that she was, reluctant to try it first. But I called them, minor superpowers or something like that. There
yeah,
are a lot of things, like your grandma that knows when it's going to rain,
yeah,
or never getting lost, or there's a whole bunch of little things, speed reading and things like that not everybody can do, and some people never train or like mine with lie detection and things like that. There are some things that some people can do that other people can't,
yeah,
and why. I did a game once, a very long campaign that was about, kind of like, it was kind of like Heroes before the TV show Heroes was out, where each character had like one thing that they could
yeah,
do that nobody else in the world, I should say the galaxy, could do. One little thing, and of course, the big government of the game was dead set on rounding these people up to find that gene or find out what that was, because if you could instill that into your children or your offspring or even yourself somehow, to
yeah,
do
I
these little things, they would add up to a better and better, through eugenics or whatever you want to call it, uh, you know common
yeah
stock of the average person. If you're the ruler of a kingdom or an empire, uh, the better your people are, the better your kingdom will, the stronger it will be. It's through
yeah,
the virtue of all these things that your people can do, as opposed to here on Earth, where we want the laziest, dumbest, most gullible, manipulable subjects
yeah.
that the government
The
can rule and lord over. Whereas anybody with any real intellect and extended lifespan, let's say, would want great people in his or her empire and make the empire greater. It just stands to reason that if you're a decent sort, or even if you're a manipulative, narcissistic bastard, you still want your worshippers to be not just a bunch of toadies. Think about it. If you could have your followers, your worshippers, all great people, powerful, talented people, that means you must be doing something right. You've got all these people hoodwinked into, you know, following you. That would be a big deal. Even in like Star Wars, they wanted to eliminate the greatest of the great, and have nothing but sheep in their empires. And why not, flip that on its head and have the king, the emperor,
gone.
whatever, trying to manipulate the genes in the gene pool to where, should he fall and die, that the empire will still be strong and stronger every day by having better and better subjects that
That's
are.
the premise of Foundation, no?
I
foundation, not really.
I
It's
didn't
more
get
the
that.
knowledge than the genetics, but
Right. I was going to say it's more about understanding of the cycle of life, and how eventually the empire will get big and fall and get big and fall over and over. And if you can put your finger in the dike of that cycle and stop it, because you've got this permanent foundational akashic records, if you will, that's never going to go anywhere. And the entire
You and your Akashic records.
we'll
The
always have this record system, so that that never happens again, because we've made an indestructible library of all the knowledge that mankind, let's say, will ever need. It's never going to go away. Therefore, we can only add to it from that point, instead of destroying ourselves and then needing to go and learn it all over again. If you never had that cycle and you could break the cycle of that, then you would eventually go into the worlds of Dune, where you would be striving for the supreme being, the Kwisatz Haderach.
Well, the
you
thing
know
about foundation is it's more uh, a lot of these, I think Asimov was pretty much like a socialist, if not outright communist. It's not just about like saving civilization from the past. It's trying to manipulate people of the future through the past.
Mhm.
Like it's all about manipulating people. They build it on a planet which has no metals, so they have to kind of, and a lot of it's kind of bullshit. Some of the stuff they do, because it's just all the whole notion that it's wealth is kind of based on some sort of weird geography thing. But even granted their assumptions, it's always about manipulating people, and eventually you kind of have you guys read it or? It's been a
Yeah, I
while.
read the first one, but it was many, many, many moons ago.
The next one is I think it's in the second book, or is it still in the first? The mule. Have they had that
The
part?
second or third book.
Yeah, I always think of the mule as Trump. He's the
No.
thing that they forget about, like they don't account for. It's a sort of charismatic figure that sort of basically is doing what they're doing, but I
Yeah.
don't want to spoil the later books for it.
Um, there are a lot of like stupid things about the series. Obviously, like it's a what if scenario. But if resources was the only thing that made you wealthy, every African country would be at the top of the wealthiest 100 countries instead of the bottom.
Yeah, like you could swap the people of Singapore for Guatemala, and the people of Singapore would make that place a paradise. They might even make this place a paradise if they came to America.
You never know. But there's even some of the smaller ones. I think the smaller mysteries would be interesting. Like a lot of shows like to, or stories like to do the precursors. And I've done that. Even though here on Earth I don't believe that, but where did we come from? When you start going out into space,
Space
and
toads.
you start, if you're going to do aliens, which is one reason I think a lot of stories, absolutely refuse to go into aliens, because you either have two choices: the aliens are older than us, or they're younger than us. If they're older, then they're better. You know what I mean? They're more evolved, or they have there's an argument for them being better. You know what I mean? Like the Vulcans or the Minbari, you know, they're older, therefore they're more evolved and more civilized, and have cool powers and abilities that we haven't discovered yet. Or they're all dead. There's all kinds of ruins and clues and things like that. Like in Total Recall with the Martians and the air machine. Nobody knows who built it. It's there, and
Deja
it's
Thora built it.
right. It's older than mankind, obviously. So it's a small mystery, but it could branch out into a huge series if they just took that little nugget and went off and went, okay, let's go to the other planets and see if there are other remnants of these precursors, if you will, who knows what you'd come up with? Because if you don't have any aliens whatsoever, you have nothing. Even there's no ruins of them. It's just a matter of humans either make aliens, which gets Justin all riled up from
Stargate.
uplifting.
Sorry, Stargate does this really good. I mean, it's the whole premise is one of the main characters is an archaeologist uncovering the past, and they build it up
Hey,
season over
squirrel.
season. And you have the precursors of the humans, and also kind of like, okay, we have I guess in a sense they're more advanced, but since they're parasitic, the goal are like they have to deal with us because we're their hosts, and they prefer us as a host to what their past hosts were, which were basically an alien Neanderthal type creature.
Right.
And, yeah.
What do you guys prefer? I know Justin's probably pro-human, and I can respect that. But do you guys, or would you guys, throw aliens into your sci-fi world, and how would you do it?
It depends on how much of your world you want to spend time building out.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's nothing I hate more than the one culture alien race that you get in every single fucking. You know what I mean? Like, there are 200 human cultures with maybe seven or countries with 700 cultures known actively on the planet right now. But there's one Vulcan culture. There's one Klingon culture.
Mm-hmm.
There's, you know what I mean? Like you only ever get the ever so sliver of these absolute uniculture.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, if it's like an anomaly in your world that humanity has multiple cultures that you play on. It's understandable, but when it's brushed over, it just is the sign of lazy writing.
Well, could you maybe argue that the uniculture comes from the advancement of multiple cultures all coalescing into the most favorable aspects of each culture until you get that uniculture?
Yeah, you have something like we have now, multiculturalism, which is doing that
Mm-hmm.
on
and,
Earth.
and that's where the Greys come from.
Whereas,
Sorry.
Yeah, for some reason I don't
but
know why.
but
Oh,
you'll see this. Sorry, you'll see this in like Stargate. They'll go to a planet and it'll be like a primitive world, but there'll still only be one culture on it.
yeah,
Our Star Trek will do it, or like it's a Neolithic world with only one culture.
yeah, or the mono environment.
Yeah.
Mhm. Which I'm okay with the mono biome Hoth and Tatooine and stuff like that.
Which, as we learn more about the universe, makes sense if it's Hoth or Tatooine. Right? Most worlds out there are some version of Mars, is what we can tell.
Right. Nothing. Just
Yeah,
no life, barren,
It's
rock.
either a super hot Mars or a super cold Mars.
Right.
yeah. Nobody's ever really explored a hotter planet, but not like above boiling. Nobody's really, at least I haven't seen anything like, oh, the temperature on this planet can go up to 170 degrees, which would be just insane for a human body. But you could picture life adapting to something like that
Oh yeah,
because
we've
it's
got
not
the
boiling.
extremophiles that live,
Yeah,
in volcanic vents under the water, and there have been, especially back in the old days. Remind me to bring that back up again. Um, in the old TV shows, there would be like lava men and rock men, really crazy aliens that,
yeah,
back in the old days, uh, their imaginations would just there was no limit. They would just pull crap out of their ass and go, yeah, they're the rock men of so and so, and they,
yeah,
or things like that. Uh, I absolutely could see. I mean, if we can have fire breathing dragons in one game, why can't we have uh, some sort of reptile or a crystalline creature that could, a silicon based life form, that the heat is actually what,
Hey,
as
Kurt
opposed to the
fucked one.
moisture.
They go.
What?
Kurt fucked one. They go.
I like the planet that Abbott and Costello went to, where it was all women.
Who
I like
would?
that planet too.
I mean, sorry, you can't argue the point. I mean, half. I mean, all the, well, let's say, 9/10 of all the men and 1/3 of all the women would be like, yeah, let's do that. Let's do exactly that. So
I
I guess
volunteer to move there right now.
They did that in an episode of Star Trek too. I forgot about that.
Mud.
where it was all women, or the women were just dominant?
It was all women, and they stole Spock's brain so they could run the
Oh
society.
yeah. Oh my God, that's
We
one of
don't
my.
speak of that episode.
That's the best one.
No, it's the worst one.
Bones remote controlling Spock's body was the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen in sci-fi. I get it, 1967. That was cutting edge, but damn, that was just
Okay, it's the most memorable episode of Star
no. The girl in the silver outfit from Triskelion, that's the most memorable. Just saying.
With the green hair,
Yeah.
tell me of this thing you call love.
Yep. That that is one of the mysteries I had put down on my list as well. For people like Brian,
The Fifth Element was a great film,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't mind spending time with Lilu.
Exactly. Not to get too mushy, but a lot of animals exhibit signs of being able to feel that emotion. The animals that mate for life. you know.
Yeah.
But then there are other animals out there. I've got these birds in my yard, and you could tell which one's the girl because she's like flying to all the boys, to get knocked up. There ain't no love going on there. But then once the eggs are hatched, there tends to be just like one dude. You know what I mean? And then is that an emotional thing, or is that just a survival thing? Of course you did, Brian. I wasn't going to bring that up, but
I'm just saying,
there
male
could be something. Go ahead.
male harem erotica sells really well. If you've got the stomach for it, which I do not, you will make a pretty penny.
Yeah, not doing that. Not going there. But Brian, you're more than welcome to come in. You know where the link is. Uh, but love seems to be almost like a magical thing, or a psychic thing, or something that could be explored, because like a lot of the aliens that we encounter, like for
Did
example,
you
what were
watch Fifth Element?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
you didn't seem to get the reference.
No, I totally did. I'm
You need
actually
to add that to your list right now. Fifth Element.
Oh, I own it, so it's not.
No,
It's
no,
not
you need to watch it again anyway.
what was that movie? Enemy Mine, where the aliens, couldn't conceive of it, but they had something else. Because they were all like born like tribbles, and when they got to a certain age, they just popped out an egg or whatever. The Dracons or whatever, the
No,
Draconians.
they had bearing partners.
Oh, did they? I thought they were like.
Yeah. He talks about his brood mare or whatever in that.
Yeah, Squirrel. I know it's weird, and yes, one of the
Weird.
greatest stories of all time.
What's weird?
The topic, the branch of the topic, I guess.
Yeah,
But
emotions hurt.
just imagine a real power, dude. You dirty old man. Um, but yeah, Bruce Willis was one lucky bastard. Um, yeah, Enemy Mine classic. I could have swore it was because I could have swore the draconian that was on the planet was like making fun of the human connection and need for one another in that particular way. And a lot of other aliens I could see, even Vulcans, they had this like weird, you know relationship toward that emotion, you know, because they clearly had it.
George, bro, can you move your mic slightly to one side or the other?
Oh,
Yeah,
to
you're
the
breathing into it.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, having it off bore like I do here, it causes the breath to go past it. I know I'm not better at it, but you know,
But yeah, think about like the
Sorry.
Vulcans. You know, all
no,
the
no, it's
all
okay.
Vulcans got married. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then they had their palm far thing where they went nuts, and you know,
yeah, that's how 7 years before the sexual frustration of
just
abstinence.
built up and just made them go crazy. Thank God it was different for every person. Can you imagine an entire planet every 7 years they just lose their shit?
Hmm.
But at the same time,
Orgy
they don't.
time.
I have not seen that one. Is that the one with Tom Hanks, Squirrel, Cloud Atlas, or am I thinking of something
Yeah,
else?
yeah, that's the one with Tom Hanks. It's not bad. It's a little
You
weird.
know,
It's
even
three simultaneous stories. Four. The book is weird, right? Because it tells one time period, the first half of the story, and then the next one is the first half of the story, and so forth until it gets to like the center story, and then it tells both, and then from there on, it tells the end of each story, progressing outward.
7 years is not logical. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Don't read Cloud Atlas though. Watch the movie.
Yeah. Jackie, we were talking earlier. He's reading Blood Meridian, and I'm like, when are you going to read my story? I gave it to you before, like 2 months ago, right? He's
Yeah.
like, well, I can't read two things at once, and I'm like,
Gay.
I have got a stack of like 12 different books I'm reading. Oh, they all have a bookmark in them, and I can pick up any one of them. And within half a page, I'm like, oh, okay, now I remember where I was.
Mhm.
You know, I just weird that way. But I guess that's good for him, right now, because I don't remember as a youngster doing that. Did you guys do that? Like read multiple books, or did you just grab a book and just
I
power
don't
through?
read shit as a youngster.
Yeah, I barely read.
Me
I
My
read
neither.
the
daughter,
TV
my
Guide.
daughter does do that though. She'll read something and then not finish it and then go back to it. I don't understand why.
Yeah, I read.
Well,
I
I
read the
can see
TV
I
Guide.
can see getting tempted by a new book. That's where
Mhm.
it starts. It's like,
Yeah.
ooh, oh man, especially like even a book you've already read, which is kind of worse. It's like I've already read this book, but now I got to read it again, even though I've got a stack, taller than my son that I need to get through. But oh, I got this new one, got to read it
Why did you buy Gore, bro?
because it was 9 books for $15. I sell 3 of them or less. I make my money back, and I get free books to read. And if I don't even like them, I still put them in the stack of
There's like
things.
22 of them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And knowing me, I'll probably find it either uh, absolutely despicable, or I'll dig it and go, I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure its uh, reputation has been exaggerated by the wrong people, and
Feminists.
and anything that has that many books, that many volumes, intrigues the hell out of me. I like the long campaigns uh, when I'm gaming. I really do. No worries, George. We'll be here. I really like that, and I respect that in storytelling. That if you've you know got a good story that needs that much to go to the conclusion, and it's not forced, or they're just writing because they got nothing else they can do. That'll become evident as I read it, and I'll be like, yeah, okay, the story should have ended here. There's 15 more books or 3 more books. I might give the next one a chance, but if it doesn't, really grab me, then I'll put it to the wayside and move on. Uh,
Yeah.
Good for you, Brian. I'm trying to. It's so hard. They're so freaking expensive, and I know that in my hands, once I get like say I acquired like 1,000 pulp magazines or things like you discussed there, they would survive the next, however long I'm alive, plus add maybe 10 years, they would survive. But right now, every day I get this feeling that there's a disturbance in the force where somebody just shit canned a big huge pile of magazines or literature, and they just went, I'm moving, toss it. I'm just like, I can just feel it. You know,
Yeah.
there's so much great stuff from 100 years ago that is just gonna be gone. And,
Well,
and all the,
there is actual great efforts to digitize a lot of that stuff. So
I know, but at what point will they then try and sanitize it,
mm,
or then permanently delete it because it goes against modern thinking or
I think
that's
a lot of those organizations are pretty good at keeping those kind of people out.
I hope you're
Preservation.
right, because that would just be literally a crime against humanity. When there are great works of fiction and even nonfiction and things like that out there that really need an Akashic records. Unfortunately, it's going to be hard for me to not catch that stuff on fire when I burn down the particular wing that I am going to burn down. So I hope they've got their Dewey Decimal System, you know,
Uh,
easily
the,
understandable.
I don't think they use the Dewey Decimal System anymore.
You know what I meant, though.
Yeah.
So, Shadow, have you had a chance to read my book yet? Speaking of which, I actually need to read yours.
I'm sorry. What TCG?
Oh, I was just curious if you had read my book yet.
No. I need you to send it to me.
I sent it to you in a private message.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll get on it tonight after the show.
Hmm.
Brian, I hated that whole concept of cutting the covers off and then dumping the books. That's just
Yeah, I don't think they do that anymore either. They
no.
black
But
belt them
I've
now.
actually I've come across a few books like that, and it
Yeah.
was just like, guys, do you understand what you're doing? You,
Yeah, it's like
especially back in the earliest days of comics, they would use comic books as ballast in sailing ships, and sometimes they
oh,
would make it over to like
newspaper.
they'd make it over to the UK. That's how what's his name from the Watchmen, Alan Moore, discovered comic books, because they were dirt cheap, because they would pull them out of the ships and then sell them, and he would get all kinds of old stuff, not the old great stuff, but like Charlton
Yeah.
comics and things like that, um, or something to that effect. And I'm just like, can you imagine what the world would have been like if, instead of all those books going into the trash heap of history, they had gone to other countries that were less developed and had less to read? Did you know
Well, that's
that?
developed like England.
That there are tribes of folk out there that got a hold of the Phantom comic books, and they still paint the Phantom on their freaking war shields?
Mhm. I can see that. There's still that one tribe that worships a particular GI from World War II.
The
You know,
Star Trek episode was kind of about like where like that they leave a book behind and then like they all become gangsters.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Piece
yeah.
of the action.
Just the action. One of the worst episodes of the original series.
Yeah, it was funny because that was my dad's friend who got me into not just model building and things like that, on a different level than my old man and I, and deeper into science fiction. He schooled me in Starfleet battles with a couple of Andorian ships to my Enterprise, because I didn't know that they were using all their energy just to get there and kill me, and weren't worried about coming back home. Basically suicide Andorians. And
Hmm.
that was his favorite episode of Star Trek, and I was just like, "What? No, Mirror Mirror is the best episode, hands down."
Mirror, mirror.
It did introduce Fizbin as a game.
Mhm. It's funny though. I was thinking about that the other day. You know how like everybody, or it's like not everybody, but most people agree that Empire Strikes Back was the best Star Wars movie.
Yeah. Bonfire of the Baskervilles was the best Star Wars movie.
No, that
Okay,
would be Blue Harvest.
well, I mean, you guys have heard it before though, right? You've heard
Yes, yes.
Yes.
and the same thing is with Mirror Mirror. Everywhere I go, if I say that, most people are like, "Yeah, that was the best." It's weird how, as a bunch of nerds,
I don't think it might not be the best, but it's a damn good one. I'd have
well,
to
it's
do it
like
so well.
let's use the word favorite. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? For
I do like it.
but it's one of those weird things where it's like one of the few things we can agree on. Sometimes it seems as a subculture, that being nerds or Star Trek fans or whatever you want to call us. Um, it's like I was just thinking about that. It's like that is so weird when you think about it. How there are certain things that it's sort of an intangible quality that makes it so good, or maybe there is a tangible quality that I'm just unaware of. Why we've all agreed on, these are the best. Maybe it's a race trait of humans, or just the subculture of nerds that just for whatever reason we all gravitate toward enjoying certain things about another thing that just makes it come
Yeah.
out on top.
I think
Mm.
if you asked me at the time, like when I watched them, like in reruns in the '80s, it would have been like the Tribbles, Mirror Mirror, are probably the ones I would have said. But nowadays, I kind of like the quirky ones. Like I like because it's just like it's different from what I would do. Like I think that the writers at the time they had like kind of like make fun of the boomers and like they ruin society and stuff like that. But they knew their craft
Mhm.
and they did do some off the wall stuff that was just like yeah what if they just find a planet that looks like Rome like things
Mhm.
like that. What if they end up on in like a Nazi planet? It's like we want to talk about Nazis right now, so we're gonna make a Nazi planet. It doesn't
I
matter
always
if it
thought it
makes
was a
sense.
matter of wardrobe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah. TNG, the original series was like what was filming on the lot next to it is
Yeah,
what they did that week.
Uh-huh.
What
Cowboys and
whatever
Indians.
just wrapped up filming, they had still in rental that they could use. Um, and they talk about that with the original series.
Yeah,
Um, but it was also that there's less demand for quality back then, right? Like the bar has been exponentially risen over the decades, so you could get away with a lot more what would be schlocky things. Like you couldn't make those episodes scene
Today,
by
oh
scene
God, no.
today without them being like
That
considered
reminded
absolute
me.
trash.
When I was going through Roku today, I found. You guys remember? You guys probably don't. Anybody out there remember Commando Cody?
Commando Cody.
It was a black and white TV show.
No.
Uh, way back in like the 50s, and I'd always wanted to see it. I saw some bits and pieces growing up, like in the Moon Man or something like that. Brian probably remembers what I'm talking about.
Brian's weird though. You should never trust what he says.
But that's one of the things I'm going to put on my list of things to watch. No matter how schlocky it is, if I could get the original Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers uh, movie reels, and watch those, I guarantee you, if you look at it, not judging the the props, if you will, but listening to the actual story, because I was watching Flash Gordon, the originals, and I'm like, you know what? This is not that bad. There's some little nuggets here and there, and a lot of it went over into the Flash Gordon movie that we all know and love. Flash, yeah, that one. it's not much different than the old black and whites. It was actually pretty true to form,
But
and
you know that the Flash Gordon movie we all love is still like it's absolute schlock, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
that's
I'm literally painting Star Schlock miniatures for the
Do
next
you
2 months. That's the name of the company. Okay,
yeah.
I
I
remember
love that.
I,
Um,
I remember as a kid they also had a cartoon in the 80s, a
yeah,
Flash Gordon cartoon.
Guardians of the Defenders of the Galaxy or something. That's on my list
Yeah.
as well. It had I think the Phantom, Flash
Doctor
Gordon,
Strange, Doc Strange,
not Doc Strange. It was Mandrake the Magician,
Magic the Magician.
and I want to say somebody else, but there was also a Flash Gordon cartoon that was actually, if you can get past the
The
certain aspects.
'90s. It was in the '90s though.
R- Right, but the things that they could and
Hmm.
couldn't do because it was a cartoon and aimed at children,
Yeah.
which, to be fair, so was Star Trek in a way. There were things they couldn't do, which is funny because it's worse now what they can't do, but what they also can do is worse. If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
When it comes to violence, is no no, but the other no nos are okay now.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
And well, like the writing for the most part has gone up, but when it comes to things in the specific nerd genre, it's like you're attacking people for things that they weren't responsible for, and are the least guilty of out through the media. Like accepting of strong female characters was always like a pro nerd thing, and you're attacking nerds for not having strong female characters. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking that more
the
along the lines of the sex and violence.
yeah, yeah.
Violence is no good, but the
You
sex is
you can still
okay
do
now.
violence. It's just
When if you go to places outside Western civilization, it's like the opposite.
yeah.
Violence is absolutely okay, but the other stuff you wait till you get married.
It's in some things.
Hmm.
There's also a lot
Obviously,
more permissiveness with nudity in a lot of places too.
right? Maybe that's part of it because they're so used to it. It's not like an all-consuming, thing. Like for me, example, when I was a certain age, that's all I was thinking about. I was lucky
There's
to be able to read a sci-fi novel and get through it without getting distracted. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
yeah.
I like Weird's comment there about the comic book for Star Wars. There's a lot. I haven't read that one, but there's a lot of stuff kind of on the fringes of like the main things we all see and watch. Like
Well,
I got into Star Wars like lore, let's say, from like just the video games, like just playing
yeah. I
KOTOR
read a
and stuff.
bunch of the books, and it pisses me off because this new Acolyte series deals with stuff from one of my more favorite
Oh, really?
uh, books. Yeah, it's like I think the first Corellia book. I might be mixing up the titles.
Did you guys
Uh,
ever read like Splinter of the Mind's Eye, Han Solo at Star's End? Those books?
The Timothy Zahn ones, is it?
No, this is way. These are Alan Dean Foster. I mean, like
uh,
right after Star Wars, the very first Star Wars thing that wasn't a movie or a comic book based on the movie was Splinter
um,
of the Mind's Eye.
which
And
was the original script for the second one, Empire Strikes Back, wasn't it?
I
no,
think
it was
so.
very different. It was very different.
Yeah. The book for that was different. It was like radically different because it was originally what they Lucas thought they would be able to do with the reduced budget that he would get for the movie flopping.
Star Wars flopped.
That's what he thought. He thought
Oh,
it would flop. Um, so he was specking out the sequel script for like a
okay.
quarter of the budget or whatever.
Because I
I think
read
that was
like
Splinter of the Mind Eye.
there was like I want to say about a half a dozen of those books, and I might still have them that I read. But I really, guys were talking about Star Wars comic books. I really, really enjoyed the Marvel ones that they wrote right after the end of the Star Wars saga. A New Hope. They had like let's say a year and a half worth of at least permission to write Star Wars stories before Empire Strikes Back, came to the theaters. In which case they continued the story there. I had the first like 55 comics that led from A New Hope, all the stuff in between up to Empire Strikes Back, and like a dumbass, I sold them all.
Oh, yeah, well,
And to replace them, I'd be looking at about 25 grand a minimum.
mm,
I guarantee I didn't get 2,500. Mind you, it was like 30 plus years. It was about 20 years ago. I sold them on eBay, and
well, 30 plus years ago would be in the 90s. Um,
it could have been then. It could have been then because I no, it couldn't have been because I was at least 33 when that happened.
mm. So, you should start making notes on these shows for prompt ideas for my show on Fridays. Because we've had good ideas on this show. Um,
Well, we can always go through the transcripts
yeah,
at
I
a
ain't
later
doing
date.
that. You doing that?
Probably
PCG, you
not,
doing
but yeah,
that?
I mean, if I were anybody else, I might, but I'm
We'll
me.
get
So,
we'll get George to do that. George, you have an official job now.
I think we should just hook Nerds AI up to it, and she'll have
Have
it done
you
in like
have you
eight.
heard anything from her in a long time?
Yeah, I saw her. She was actually in the chat for Jackie's last show, and
Mm-hmm.
she hangs out a lot with Bear and some of the other people that we know. Um, and she was on a show last night with Raven and Bear and Mr. Max, and I want to say somebody else, but it could be Connell of all people. Uh, and they were having a good old time,
Last
talking
night?
different. Yeah,
What the
last night,
fuck? What the fuck was Mr. Max doing last night?
getting drunk off his ass is what he was doing.
You gotta link me to whatever this show was.
Okay. Yeah. I've noticed that Mr. Max tends to always drink after a certain time. You know,
Yeah, that's 3 in the morning. He drinks after that time, up to that time.
and he's it's very easy to tell when he gets to that into the red line of drunkenness.
Yeah,
It's uh,
yeah.
he's definitely not so uh, himself. I mean, you can see the difference.
No. He is himself. He's just not restrained.
Right. Well, you know what I mean. The guy we see, on YouTube, it is entertaining at the least. I think Raven was getting pretty sloshed herself too. She'll come in now and say, "No, I wasn't. I only had one little tiny little bottle." I'm like, "Yeah, you were nursing that." I think you had like
Whose
six.
channel was this on?
I think it was on Bear's channel,
Okay.
and I was writing, so I would throw in my 2 cents every once in a while, but you know, I don't want to interrupt those moments when I'm in the zone when I'm writing.
The Danger Zone.
No, when I'm in, like I'm in really
Shut up! It's called the Danger Zone.
okay, and I do like Archer. So George, how are you doing with your writing?
Just doing research, and I've been trying to find like analogs for things in in my story. It's so one of the things I'm trying to find is like a Native American analog or a cowboy analog in history. To kind of like if I just make the things one to one or directly or use the same terms, it can kind of look a little just too derived. So I've been looking into some of the Russian history and
Okay.
looking at Cossacks, and like they make a lot of there's a lot of analogies to the sort of conquest of the American West and the conquest of the Russian East.
What
And
about the South American folks?
Gauchos.
Yeah, thank you. That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah. I haven't looked at them, but yeah, that's another good analog.
I mean, and just the the bolos alone.
Mm,
I'm like, oh my god, I want to use that somehow.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I've been finding
I'm
some.
going to give you a warning. There is a big danger of over researching without writing.
Yeah,
A lot of like that's a thing that like professional authors will. I've seen them warn a lot on interviews and stuff. Is that because like 90% of people never even finish their first story, right? So
yeah,
and that's one of the ways that you can bog yourself down is over researching.
yeah,
And it's more important that you finish your story and then go back and revise uh, the crap out of it.
hmm,
And I mean that like literally, not like revise it many times. You're going to do that, especially if you're writing a full length novel. But like literally go and take the crap and revise it out of the thing. I'm going to give you that piece of advice. It's more important that you get down that they're Indians and cowboys, and then put
yeah,
a footnote that you want to change them to something less obvious.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So yeah, I've been.
You can always borrow my my solution and turn the Native Americans, if you will, into lizard men. It works great.
Lizard
I,
men,
I generally don't like aliens in
Lizard
my
people.
sci-fi.
You don't like what?
aliens.
Aliens in my sci-fi.
Really? Really?
Um,
Okay.
so my notion is that these, we're calling them ramblers, and they're going to be kind of Cossack, kind of Native American, kind of both cowboy and Indian at the same time in some ways, and they're going to be people that left Earth earlier on and went out
Slow
into
boat ship
space,
people.
like yeah,
The
slow
clans. You're
boats and
talking
stuff.
the clans, aren't you?
Exactly,
Okay.
clans, sieges, and so that's kind of the thing. I don't know how this. There's like the fast travel, I guess, like a gate or something like that. I don't quite know what the slow travel would be. Would it be sublight? Would it be kind of almost light speed? Is it some just slightly slower version of faster than light travel? So that's where I'm kind of,
Colony ships.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm a big fan of colony ships. So much can go wrong.
yeah,
Yeah, that's where the fun comes, right? Good writing is letting bad things happen and then seeing where the dice land.
yeah. And my idea is to make them very, very anti-robot. So if some settler comes in with a bunch of farming robots, they're going to come in and just destroy them all, raid them, because they just have a visceral disdain for kind of like like in Dune with the whole Butlerian jihad and stuff like that. Kind of it's just an ingrained, like they would have left at a time when there was a lot of turmoil on Earth regarding robots and stuff like that, and they just like, we're out of here, and they just developed a society like that. So
Yeah.
it gives them a reason to raid people without just being like, just, we're going to steal your stuff and rape your women and stuff. It's just sort of, we're coming in, you're not allowed to have robots. Boom, boom, boom. And then, of course, everybody, there's the conflict in there.
Yeah. Luddites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta have some robots in my freaking sci-fi. I'm just
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's so much fun. There's so much you could do with them. Uh, just
Yeah. I was just watching the Orville, and even that like Isaac guy is pretty interesting.
You ever watch? You ever
Arthur
see the origin story of that
of what?
I
of
that
Isaac?
the
I,
I saw the episode where they showed how they like the race that built them, and they kind of like were abusing them, like a little remote control, like zapping them.
well, there's the one scene that keeps going around on YouTube where the executive is like, you know how much it will cost to recall those robots?
Yeah.
We're not doing that. And like 1 year later.
Yeah, that was in that episode. And that
Yeah.
also goes back to the conversation on emotions and stuff. It's not just alien emotions. It's like sort of the AI and them dealing with emotions. Like in that episode, I think there was what do they call Kalon that had that they rewired to have emotions, and of course this Data in TMG, or TNG. I mean,
The Measure of a Man was one of my favorite episodes.
yeah,
I, I love that. I always liked the character Data for some reason. And I always thought that they kind of did him dirty in too many ways
I much
Mhm.
prefer the character of Seven of Nine.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah, and he also made his offspring Lol.
Yeah.
Lolly.
Yeah, I was thinking about that episode just as you said before you said that. It was heartbreaking,
Yeah,
and at the same time, it wasn't for him, which was even more heartbreaking.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
They also had that episode where he meets the wife of his maker, and she's actually a robot.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's I think it was the Dr. Sung's
Yeah.
wife, but then you find he sees that like she's had her blinking is like a pattern or something. It's
Yeah.
Troy's mom, yeah.
Really? Oh my god, I couldn't stand her.
Waxana.
Oh my god, she was just absolutely like she everything I could possibly hate about a woman was epitomized by her.
I second that.
She was just absolutely despicable on every freaking level, every single molecule. Now,
George, you got to move your mic back over again.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because it's just on our end.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Darth
it's
Vader.
okay.
well, I
No,
never I
it's-
never saw the episode with Sung's wife. I don't know how I missed that. I watched the
Yeah.
whole series. Was it?
It was a few seasons in.
it was the one where they find lore, isn't it?
I don't remember if it's when they find lore. It was after that. Like they found her like somewhere else.
Yeah, they go to the laboratory
I remember that, but I don't remember her.
and she's there.
Does she die or something?
I don't think they actually tell the crew that she's a robot, or it's just kind of like brushed over.
Hmm.
Yeah. Troy's mom has inspired one of my favorite music videos on YouTube. The "'Tis Better to Have Loved Than Lost," that pogo song.
Oh,
You
They
thought
take-
it was his sister or daughter? No, there was the daughter episode, but it's just not
It's basically his mom in a sense. Gosh, what
Right.
was
but like she was modeled after a real person.
okay. That rings a slight bell, but I can't really picture it. That's weird because I've done a lot of things in my sci-fi games with artificial or synthetic life. I did an episode of Table Breakers where that was one of the mysteries. They thought the 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 robots, if you will, on the pleasure world that they were vacationing when we did a live play, they all thought that they were just sex bots and things like that. And I kept giving them clues that I was hoping that they might, pick up on. But we only had 2.5 hours between two episodes. He'd be making me a space wife. Hey, don't you already have a space wife? And how would she feel about that? Just saying, Bri. And yes, please send me a link to those things you just mentioned a moment ago. Those sci-fi westerns up here. Stingray Sam. You know what? I'll just write it down in case you're too busy with your other hand.
the the episode's called Inheritance.
I got it, Brian. I'll send them to the chat.
Yeah, I think he hooks up with in like the second episode he hooks up with the blonde girl.
Oh God, Denise Crosby.
Yeah.
Another character I could not stand. Um, She made no sense. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
To me.
Um, like you get more with the backstory from her sister. Like she's from a death world, like TCG so brutally loves.
Uh,
Just ragging on you, bro.
no, and I remember that episode because of the actress for some
Who is
reason.
so much better than Denise
Yeah.
Crosby.
Yeah, but
Um,
there's something off about her as well. You know what I
it
mean?
was the haircut. It was
It
the
could have been.
early
It could have been.
'90s, like
Yeah. I think I had that haircut
the
then.
upcut.
You had that haircut.
That
It's
was
okay. I had
distinct.
Denise Crosby's haircut for a
That
while.
was distinctively a chick haircut, bro.
I'm just joking. I've never had anything but long hair or really, really short hair, unless it was in between, but never that haircut. It was just, I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I think it was
You know,
kind of the 80s.
if you want to talk, make sure you double check your mic.
He made
Yeah.
me, if he made Data, okay, I already read that. Sorry, I thought it was a new comment. Um, but yeah, again, another one of the great mysteries. Can you create artificial life? In that respect, not like, eh, you know, by splicing genes and things like that, but out of cold hard steel and plastic and things like that. Can you make something that is technically alive?
Yeah.
Well, if you want to
Or
look
the
at it that
closest
way,
facsimile. Go ahead, TCG.
uh, in this particular instance, I would agree with Rev Bren from Andromeda. If it's capable of true love, it has a soul.
Okay,
But most
nice.
robots won't be capable of true love. They'll just be robotic, fake love, and like it's programmed to love you, which does not count.
Right, right.
But it
Which,
feels good. That's all that matters.
and I wonder if that might be part of the equation. Think about this. Because they're working on those kind of bots all over the
Yeah.
world, right? Um, do you think that the machine could learn that through the interactions with its owner, if you will, over time, that it that might like be part of the spark that you know uh, opens up its awareness to realize that, hey, I'm not just a blender or a toaster. I'm a thing that's capable of choosing my own fate, so to speak.
And the
That
scary part is of that question, I believe it is possible as soon as the programming is advanced enough.
think
I
about,
mean,
for example, like C3PO and R2D2.
yeah,
They I could see that being part of it, because if you know anything about like Luke, from what I understood, he always treated robots as if they were alive.
Mm-hmm.
And if maybe that that respect or you know caring toward the bots um, made them somehow enlightened, if you will, or able to go beyond their programming. And yes, Cherry 2000 is a great one. All you need is the chip. Maybe, well, same thing with Lord. All he needed was the chip, and he gained emotions. And maybe there is a secret, not a secret, but a specific set of programs that awaken a machine to that point. Would you explore that in your world? And if you suddenly had sentient machines that were, for all intents and purposes, alive, you would have either a boon to the universe or its ultimate bane.
Yeah. Robots are not people. They don't count as uplift, so they're still property.
There's still property. Well, and if you're playing men,
One thing I liked
So
about
they go into the inventory with women.
Cherry 2000, it kind of, if you look at like the dating scene in that episode, in
in the
the
very
beginning of
beginning with the contracts and things like
it,
that,
yeah,
we're
it was,
almost there, guys.
yeah,
We're like a hop, skip, and a jump away from that literal reality. And then you know what happens? You get Mad Max World.
yeah.
I mean, literally, because that's what happened to them. Suddenly, I've had this conversation with Raven before. You'll end up with a world that will make The Handmaid's Tale look like uh, a
Picnic.
utopia
Hmm.
compared
Yeah,
to the brutality that could ensue when you deny half the population of its most basic instinctual drive.
the one of the funny things is in that movie was that one of the girls that he meets at the bar is she ends up going off with that crazy warlord Lester, joining them. She knew him because she was in the bar in the beginning, I think.
I have to watch it again. Cherry
Yeah,
2000.
I'll put that one on the list, just because I do delve into the topic of AI and artificial life and things like that. Disaster in a Can, great name. Welcome to the show. I don't know what M means, but hopefully you're not Felix.
And if you are Felix, don't be creepy, bro.
I also remember what's it's like he's explaining to Melanie Griffith. Is it yeah, Melanie Griffith. He was like, "It's love," and she just goes, "Who is a robot?" With that sort of awkward voice that she had. That little, I don't know, it was kind of like a almost like a New York accent.
Yeah. And if we learned anything from Futurama,
Hmm. Fries his own grandma or grandpa.
yeah, 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 yeah. He's his own grandma too. That's predestination. Ethan Hawke's his own grandma in predestination.
The funny thing about the professor is he's just disgusted, but it's not because it's his grandma. He's disgusted because he's made a time paradox.
Before the professor could. Um, but no, no, no. The robot love.
Yeah,
Just
I
so you
remember
know.
that
Lucy
one.
Lubot.
Yeah.
It's okay when robots do it, but it's not okay when humans do it, right?
Yep.
Also, the two cops were homosexuals.
Robosexuals. Yeah.
That's it's weird, but
They had a scene where how the cops kind of talking to the bullhorn to like talk to like negotiate hostages or something, and
Yeah.
he grabs like from the robot's crotch like the microphone, and he just starts talking to it, and he's like, and he goes to put it back. He's like, wipe that off before you put that back.
The car scene from Cherry 2000, or
Yeah, that was cool. They had that. I didn't. It was a weird way to to move a car, but it was cool.
I gotta download this movie.
Cherry
Uh,
2000.
yeah. It's been ages. I think we had it on VHS when I was a kid, but
Really?
I only watched it a bunch of
I think
times.
I watched it on Pluto like about a year ago, and uh, I'll probably have to put it on. I mean, I just put it on the list, but maybe bump it up, into the first 20 that I try to watch.
Yeah, we had a lot of great films, and I regret. I don't regret, but I do regret watching The Burbs at least once every weekend because it swallowed me from watching so many other movies.
Yeah, I could say the same thing about Pulp Fiction and
Yeah,
possibly Fight Club, but I still love those movies.
Fight Club.
Fight Club was great.
You ever read the book?
No, no, I almost bought it. Was it Club Dumas?
No, Club de Moss is the one from the Ninth Gate.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was the other way around. Okay. Oh, yeah. I'll have to get both of them then. Um,
Is the Ninth Gate that guy?
Johnny Depp and
Yeah, the director though, isn't it? The guy who like left the country and doesn't ever come back to the United States.
Truman Capote,
No, the other guy. Oh God, I can't think
The
of his
one
name.
that raped
Yeah,
the hotel
Woody
mate.
like
Woody
a
Allen.
13-year-old or something.
No,
I
God,
Woody
could have swore
Allen
that was
married.
Truman Capote.
No,
it
it
could be
was.
him. He's dead.
No, it's not Truman Capote. It's Coppola.
Oh,
Not. Was it
Okay.
Francis Ford Coppola? No.
Gosh, I
Uh,
can't think of the guy's name. It's just
well, it's very
it'll
easy to
come.
find out.
It'll come back in a
The
like a
Ninth
minute.
Gate.
He might not have a credit on it in America because he's on the run.
No, on IMDb.
no, I don't
Polanski.
remember. I don't remember that one, Brian.
Polanski, that's it. Roman
Oh,
Polanski.
okay, Roman Polanski.
I heard you can't
Both
even
of them
talk
are freaks.
when you
And throw
see
Woody Allen in there, and you've got the trifecta of some of the worst human beings ever to
the. Yeah, I remember hearing
work in Hollywood.
some actress or actor was talking to him, like he saw him at a party and wanted to talk to him. I don't know why, but she didn't get the memo. You're not supposed to talk to him in English because he thinks you're gonna basically you're the FBI coming to arrest him. So like he started asking, she started asking him questions. And he just ran off,
Huh.
left the party.
Yeah, if you've got a policy like that, you probably deserve to be in jail. Just saying.
Yeah.
Now the girl from that, the Ninth Gate, uh, Emmanuel Sainer, uh, she married him.
Okay, Brian. Why
Hmm.
isn't Big Trouble in Little China on that list?
Big Trouble
And
in Little China's a
and,
great
and
film.
for that matter, why isn't Buckaroo Banzai, which I just watched last week and for the second time in my life, and I really enjoyed that movie. We need more movies just like that.
What?
Yeah.
Buckaroo?
Yep.
Buckaroo is awesome. I've been on the Buckaroo kick recently.
Really, what else is there besides the comic books?
There's nothing. I mean, just looking at videos about it, interviews on it,
Oh,
and stuff like
okay,
that.
yeah.
Because I was wondering like, what it is. Because they do almost like it's funny because it's they do like what's like an Easter egg in the thing or like fan service, as if there was something that you were as if you knew it already, but it wasn't. It was something just
Yeah,
written
yeah.
for the
That's like
movie.
the movie
It
is
was
created like it's the third part in a series.
yeah,
Right.
and you're supposed to know who Buckaroo Banzai is and what is it
Hmm.
the Hong Kong
Okay,
breeze.
and it had such, you know, great supporting characters and actors that would
Hmm.
go on to do some pretty great things.
Yeah,
Uh, success wise, anyways.
I think Jeff Goldblum did that instead of Ghostbusters. So maybe
Well, he would have been
Thank
good as Egon, but the original Harold Ramis, I think it
yeah.
was
Mhm.
it, Chef's kiss.
Um,
The funny thing is he's called Jersey, but he's just walking around in a cowboy outfit.
I died laughing when I saw it because I
yeah.
knew instantly who it was. One of my best friends of all time um, always reminded me of him, and I never said anything to him about it because I knew it would just drive him nuts, but not in a good way. Um, every time I see him, I can't help thinking of him. Uh, so it was definitely
Did
a
you
high.
watch? Did you watch the Red Leather Media discussion on The Fly that I sent
No,
you?
not yet, not yet. I
Okay. Just the channel is generally good. But the episode I sent you was them talking about The Fly. Good Jeff Goldblum movie.
it really was.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he had to get so weird. I mean, he had plenty of weird. He had more weird, just natural, genuine weirdness, and I'm terrified. Because that someday we're going to find out it goes deeper. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Much deeper.
I don't want. I just I'm
I don't
already
care that Goldblum plays D&D. I would never play with them. He is probably the a 1D player in the 4D scale.
You think so?
Do you see the guy?
Well, I more picture him just being the guy that once it's like his moment to talk, it doesn't end.
Yeah, that's
I
close
mean,
enough to 1D.
okay. There's a bunch of decent folk out there that play D&D. I really
Jeff
want to find out.
Goldblum not being one of them.
I want to find out what Robin Williams did. I knew he was a gamer, but he was probably like a Civil War gamer or something really weird, or less cool than role playing games. If that's really a meter of measurement, for cool factor. Because let's face it,
Uh,
it, role playing isn't exactly uh,
Lies.
the
Why are you
80s
lying?
thing and Return of the Living Dead are our weekly, if not every other. How do you do this?
The thing is
How do you
great.
watch this much? I'm lucky. I
It's
am
on in the
literally.
background, bro.
I can't. I can't. Maybe maybe if it was like Fight Club or Pulp Fiction, I could do that because I've seen it so much. But like right now, for he was a 40K player. Uh, um,
What
that wouldn't surprise me, but it kind of does. Like for me, I just watched Outland and Buckaroo Banzai for literally the second time in my life, and I saw him first when they came out, and now I'm watching them again, and I am lucky if I can get those actual 2 whole hours uh, to watch a movie, and that's awesome, dude. I literally would have gone and bought a box of whatever he wanted, and then the same one for me if he would just freaking autograph it, get a selfie, and like, dude, such a tragedy that we lost him
yeah. The
the way we did, or at all. To be honest, can you imagine Robin Williams at like 80 or 90 years old? What an absolute freaking just absolute joy it would have been to just see him doing interviews about the things that he had done.
Hmm.
If you've ever seen Gene Wilder's later interviews, he was wrecked by age, but he didn't lose that spark. Yeah,
How
Outland.
old?
I don't know that I would call it awesome. It was good. It wasn't even great. It was good, but it's definitely one of those things you should see. What do you mean I'm
Yeah.
one of the fan weirdos? I'm just a weirdo. There are not too many people that I would, or things that I would call myself a fan of. But I don't know. I guess it's not for me to say.
You are
Really,
nuts.
Cal,
if
you're a
you
lucky lucky man.
if you're a fan of The Thing, there's this YouTuber. He's a film critic called Rob Ager, and I think he has several channels. One of them has an odd name called Collative Learning, and he does film analysis. And his stuff on The Thing is awesome. You start realizing it's a pretty well thought out movie, because if you're sitting there trying to track what's a thing and what's not, what's human and what's not,
Mhm.
it gets pretty interesting. And then you try to get into the headspace of each character as they go along.
It's very similar to Blade Runner,
Hmm.
whether Decker was a real human or not, and was Kurt Russell the thing at the end or not. It's got that
Hmm.
same sort of vibe going on because I
Yeah.
did a dive into both of those topics a while back, and I think the answer is uh, that's up to you. I really do. If you're never going to get a straight answer out of them because they don't want it to, like bum out half their audience, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, like
Well,
with
they
Blade,
ruined that with the the second Blade Runner film.
That put me to sleep.
With
One of the reasons why I like Pulp Fiction, because what's in the case? I don't know. You tell me. Uh, what's his name? Quentin Tarantino said, literally, it's the lady or the tiger. It's got to be up to you. Anything else ruins everything for
the
either
show.
everybody or at least half of everybody that likes the movie.
Hmm.
And
The only time finding out what's in the box makes any sense is 7.
y- y- I know, and
We all wish we didn't find out.
yeah. Wait till you read my latest story. I think you'll feel the same way.
Nah.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm the one that says we start cannibalism 20 minutes after a
Oh no, it's nothing. Well, it's not like that.
traffic jam.
It's one of the other no crimes. Let's just say, but
Oh yeah. You better do fucking TCG's airships,
I will. I will.
and don't think you're getting off next cycle because you wrote it in advance.
So what I got to write two?
Your choice.
Well, I think everybody should take the prompts for the next cycle, just because I think the timing is so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But uh, I could uh, I could let you guys like come up with another prompt for
Don't
me.
we?
You know.
Don't weasel out. Don't weasel out.
No, I could write another
You
story in the same time. Um, I never saw that. Are you talking about the TV show or the movie?
Jericho.
Because I watched part of the TV show, but then I think like Netflix didn't have the rest of it, and if it's a movie, it's not ringing a bell.
What was
But
the
yeah,
ending again?
I don't know.
Brian, get in here for a second and tell us what the ending was.
But yeah, you know what? I can let you and TCG come up with like a weird ass prompt for October,
Yeah.
and I'll see what I can come up with. It shouldn't be too hard. I mean, unless you make it like really, goofy or something. Like you know,
Texas
space.
Chainsaw Bunny Massacre.
What?
Texas Chainsaw Bunny Massacre. The bunnies will massacre you.
Bunnies. We'll work
TV
on
show.
that.
Yeah. Don't go all hard R on me. Just give me something challenging but not ridiculous. Like Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
What about a couple of X's?
Uh, I definitely went into the R category with my latest,
Yeah, that's okay. We don't have any rules on restriction.
but X I could just I need to find a way to make it self delete within moments of reading it.
No.
Okay, Brian. I'll have to revisit that one as well because it's like always on Netflix for some reason.
What, Jericho?
Yeah.
I'd have to ask my wife how that ended.
Yeah. The Jericho was nuclear weapons, right?
Mhm. Oh, that reminds me. I got to put that one on the list. The Postman.
Postman. Read the
Oh
book.
yeah.
Don't watch the movie. Read the book.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah. They were supposed to keep making that, or they had a writing campaign to wrap up the series or something like that for Jericho. What was the other one? Jeremiah that was out with the virus instead of the bombs. That was an interesting one too.
I don't know if I
That
saw that one.
that one had a lot more like God sent me kind of
The
thing.
Road. Yeah, I bought the book The Road Blood Meridian and No Country for Old Men for my son for Christmas without knowing what the books were about. Uh, I'm a bad dad, apparently.
No. It's okay. He's still of
Um,
a responsible age.
I know. It's just I should have read them first, and
Why?
then well read the not read the books, but read Wikipedia or whatever, like I did after the fact, and I could have been like, you sure? But his favorite YouTuber, that's his favorite author, so I'm like, okay, let him have
Who? Wendigo.
Wendigoon, yeah, that's his favorite author. That uh, yeah, and now Jackie wants me to read Blood Meridian when he's done with it, and
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
should read it.
yeah, I'll do him a solid, as long as
It's a
he will.
western, right? I think that one's the western.
Yeah, it is. It
Uh,
is. As long as he'll read like an equal number of pages of the shit that I've written, because God knows I've read an equal number of pages of the stuff he's written.
yeah,
He should be able to do me a solid because, you know, uh, you know,
yeah.
I'm his
Also,
dad. For Christ's sake,
make him do some editing too.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
He actually, if I get him to read it, I'll be happy. His, uh, I have to edit some of his stuff more often than not. Not nothing major, but little things. And I'm guilty. I was going through my last draft of the last thing I wrote, and was like, I've done this. No worries, George. No worries. If you got to pop out, you got to pop out. It's Saturday night, and we don't all have the same, get up and go we used to.
Yeah,
Uh,
but I
but
do have to get up and go because my bladder is weak as fuck.
no worries, no worries. Appreciate you being here, George. And please send me something soon, okay, man? You're
Yeah,
killing me. I want to know
party
what your
on,
writing
George.
style's like. Um, and and
Yeah.
The Road is one of the few of the movies that I think I would enjoy, sort of. But at the same time, I've heard it's pretty rough as well. Yeah, nothing's gonna do that, um, Brian. I that was ingrained into my psyche so far back. It's not even funny. Um, and it's weird. I always get like a weird kick out of watching Mortensen play anybody. He's just got such a weird voice and accent. I don't know if it's intentional or whatnot, but he just seems like the most unlikely of stars, if you will, for some reason. I don't know why. It's like, how did you get famous again? Kind of like uh, Steve Buscemi and even George Goldblum. If you think about it, back in the day, they just must have just had the drive and the no quit sort of attitude just to keep pushing and pushing. It's like, no, this is what I'm going to do, and you're going to find me a job. I don't care what it is, and then I'll shine, and then everybody will want me in their movies, which of course never happens like that. But whatever. You still there with us, crafting?
Yep.
What are you doing? What are you working on?
Uh, Assembling some goblins for my orc army and the
Nice,
handler.
nice. I did a little priming today for some robots, but I can't do too much of anything because of the challenge. Are you going to participate in Mini War Much challenge?
I didn't even know where there was one.
Oh yeah, are you subscribed to him?
Not currently.
Okay, write down Mini Warmut or go to it now. And he's got a September challenge called Going the Distance. And whoever basically paints the most millimeters in miniatures wins.
Uh,
I know it's weird as hell when you think about it like that, especially if you're painting like 2 millimeter miniatures or something, or 6 mil.
yeah. Okay. With that kind of rule, probably not.
It starts in September.
Well, we'll see. But I'm very slow painter.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
I've seen
just
your work.
paint really
You're
big
not,
things.
I know you're not a bad painter at all. You've done some pretty intriguing work. So it's a good way to uh, if you sign up for it, you'll get some new people watching your stuff. Just saying,
Yeah.
and that's always a good thing. Uh, you know, and now it's my turn, Justin. You're gonna have to hold down the fort for a minute.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna plug this in and then I'll be right with you. Find the plug. Get in there. That's what she said. TCG, bro.
Yeah.
What you working on?
Didn't you hear me when I answered? I'm working on goblins.
Oh, goblins. No, I didn't. I did not hear you.
Oh.
I was in the washroom.
Oh.
That's why I shut my camera off. So there would be no embarrassing thing going by the screen without my attention to it, because I've seen that happen to too many people over the years.
Yeah.
They step away for a minute and I don't know. Their back sheet falls down and there's a massive porn collection back there.
Yeah.
Now, I would want to know how the porn collection got back there because it's just a wall. But I ain't taking the chances. My luck, something fucking weird will happen.
Well, I forgot where around here, but somewhere around here there was a house that was insulated with very old porno magazines.
Did I ever tell you the story of the time I took a tour of a recycling plant?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, so I took a tour of a recycling plant. I was 21, so it was a while ago. 28 years ago, or 18 years ago. 28 years ago, 18 years ago. And the whole group's walking through, and the guy with the name Jeff stenciled on his shirt is giving this tour. He's obviously the operator.
Yeah.
And he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. And he's standing right there at the top of the loading bay, right? Because the big machine, like it's a paper recycling plant, has a thing you got to climb up to feed the paper into.
Oh yeah.
He's standing there at the end of the tour. We're up at the top of the thing, and I'm looking at him. I look him right in the eyes. Then I look down at his feet. And I look up at his eyes. And I look down at his feet. And I look up at his eyes. And I ask him point blank, do you ever give this tour to school kids, like grade school kids? He's like, yes, all the time. And it's like, do you ever look around to make sure there's nothing inappropriate for them to see while you're giving the little Susie and Jimmy the lecture about recycling paper? And he's like, nah, I never do that. And I look down at his feet again, and I look back up at him, and he's not getting why I keep looking down and looking up, look at him very obviously. And it's like, you should probably do that. And then I look down at his feet again, and right next to his left foot is a big old 70s bush. Like, it's just splayed open, spread eagle, 70s bush. And it's like, you should probably do that. And I don't think he ever got what I was talking about.
Some people are dense.
Yeah. And not observant of the world around them.
I got a concert going on in my backyard, so I'm going to hit the mic again.
Yeah. Yeah. Your neighbors are partying all, or is it
No, it's a concert.
literally? How far are you away from the stadium? Or the
I could hit it with a BB rifle.
okay. This will help me narrow down the nearest Home Depot to your location when I give you advices on what Home Depot to go to next. Oh, oh, fuck. So what's going on with you guys, sir? Did we kill the topic?
I think we killed the topic and we meandered away from it a while ago.
Yeah, but that was when I was making hot dogs or whatever. There are some mysteries in some of the shows we talked about. I recommend Jeremiah if you hadn't watched that one. Jericho was good, but Jeremiah was interesting as well. Samwise Gamgee is in that show. He was second season though. Bush. You don't get what I mean by Bush?
I did.
No.
You got to read the comment before that. He misspelled the last word.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just got that. I looked down. And, yeah. Man, you don't leave me alone. I fucking fish for things to talk about. And TCG is not on his pain meds or whatever. So he's no fun to talk to.
Give me a minute. This is hysterical.
What? Me? I didn't say nothing funny. I just stated facts. Just the facts, man. I don't know how many of you out there watch Dragnet.
Speaking of Dragnet, that was one of the shows that I can watch as much as I want on Roku, apparently.
What one? There's like 9 of them.
The original, as far as I can tell, black and white.
Yeah. Like the one from the 60s, the one from the 40s.
I think so. I think so.
50s.
Yeah. I didn't see Perry Mason, but maybe I'll watch it. I remember seeing it as a kid and being just thoroughly bored with it, but, you know,
Yeah.
I'm older and wiser and more bored than I was then.
You and me both. Well, I'm older and wiser. You're just like the same
Older.
age and mildly more intelligent.
I don't know, man. Some folks would argue that one.
Well, you haven't really aged much in the last 10,000 years. Hey,
No,
it's
no.
Felix. How are you doing, Felix?
Perfect timing.
Why are
Welcome to
we?
the show, Felix.
What?
Said, welcome to the show, Felix.
Yeah, we're wrapping up soon.
Yeah,
We were going to go
about 15
four and a
minutes.
half hours, but
No, I was going to cut it at like exactly 3 hours and
yeah.
see what happens, after the fact. I want to get back to my story tonight and write the next chapter. There's
Yeah.
been a couple of those. One of my favorites was the Big O, the anime about the giant stompy robot.
Yeah.
Everybody lost their memory, but he still knows how to pilot a giant freaking stompy robot. I liked it because it was the main character was like very Bruce Wayne, like the animated series, drawn, big shoulders, triangular, character, but the style was like and that's the Batman show style, but very, very sort of noir and very kind of melancholy. It was an interesting cartoon. I should look into it. I miss that. I miss Adult Swim on Cartoon Network. I saw some
Yeah.
great stuff on that. That
You're talking about the remake of Big O, not the original.
am I?
I thought there was one from the 60s.
I thought that's the one I was watching.
No, there's one from the 2000s.
Could be.
From 99 to it's done in that style.
Hmm. Okay. Well, it was really good. It's amazing how when they don't do the chibi sort of style of animation to emphasize
Yeah.
humor, which we would all get, without them doing that. How good some of the, the Japanese animation was.
They do that to distinguish it from adult content,
Mhm.
like mature content, and that there's like the it comes from their version of the
Laugh
what was
track.
that? No, the commission, the comics commission or
Oh,
whatever.
okay, okay. Because like
Yeah.
I remember Ranma One Half. You guys ever watch that?
No.
It's about a character. Every time he gets wet, he turns into a girl.
It's every
Okay.
time he gets hit by cold water. If he gets hit by hot
What?
water, he gets turned back into a man.
Okay,
Okay.
so you have seen it then.
A little bit, yeah. Most, I think I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
the
It was
first
it was a
4 or
little more
5
risque,
episodes.
not full on Legend of the Overfiend, uh, but it's amazing
I think you give Legend of the Overfiend a bad rap, and I think you should stop doing that. I've never seen the show, but I'm just
Okay,
saying you
well,
have anyway.
when you're done watching that, then
I'm
if you're
not going to watch Legend of the Overfiend.
okay, well then you should definitely watch F3.
F3. No. Um, what was the one with the spiral mech? Um,
My mind went to Gigantor and Master Cylinder, but okay, what?
there was one where like everyone's living underground because there was like some apocalyptic event, and they're having like to drill everywhere, and they find like the master drill or something, and it leads them to a giant robot, and they fight the Cyclone War or whatever.
No, not ringing a bell at all.
It was good. I'll find the name of it later, and
Okay.
if I remember. There's still something I have to send TCG, but I forget what it was. Uh,
Same here.
yeah. Information. Oof.
Huh.
Outlaw Star. Hmm.
You too, Brian. Oren,
You ever
what's that?
you ever watch Last Exile?
No. Yeah, I vaguely remember that one, George. But when Japanese animation does it right, sometimes there's nothing like it. I mean, in very unique and profound ways. A lot of people give it a kind of a bad rap at times, but it's some of the most just
No,
epic.
it wasn't Star Chaser Last Legend of Oron, Ryan. If that's what you're wondering. Yeah, you were saying Star Shadow.
Things like Trigun and Cowboy Bebop. Just
Mm-hmm.
I get why they could not possibly do it justice on the big screen when it came to Cowboy Bebop, and they were just doomed to failure. But they went and tried anyways, and
Actually, I think if it wasn't for some of the casting choices and um, like the background, um, like dickery by the casts and people like bad mouthing the audience, it wouldn't have gotten such a bad rap.
Probably, and that's got to come to an absolute stop.
For the Cowboy
Yeah,
Bebop.
yeah.
And
Actresses and actresses need to literally have to sign like non
well, they
opening.
do. They do sign them, but the company then puts them up to it because there's no such thing as bad press kind of mentality, right?
Well,
When you can demonize the one group, the other group will send out positive praises and go see the film, and that's the thing. Like your Razor Fists and the other guy. What's the one that does that panel show? What's his fucking name? It's escaping me. He has all the action figures on the wall behind him. He's a big Doctor Who fan.
not ringing a bell.
His room's painted blue. Fuck. It doesn't matter. The right wing grievance crowd against Hollywood doesn't get it. It's those other people do see the movies. They see them enough to justify the political outrage production of product. It might not be a profitable production of product, but it is political outrage justification of production of product, and that's like half the reason why they produce things these days, right? So
Neurotic.
nerdrotic,
Okay.
which like his sole purpose of making content is the audience he's making it to, because he has no power or control over the production of anything, and half the time he's totally wrong about what he's talking about, and the other half of the time he's just making shit up. It's like, I don't know. A total
Well,
waste
I
of
was thinking
breath.
mostly of like the most recent Snow White. I mean, that dumb bimbo literally torpedoed the whole project. If she
No, it
came,
hasn't even come out yet, so
right? No, that's what I mean, and it probably won't.
yeah, it will. It's scheduled for
So
early next year.
really,
Yeah, and they're claiming it's the most anticipated film of next year.
one
Because the
more reason to root for the asteroid.
yeah, and don't forget, if the Earth gets impacted by an asteroid, women will be mostly affected. That was an article from like the New York Times or something like that, like
Really,
5-10 years ago.
freaking. Where's Bubba when we need him?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
dumb. Just epic levels of idiocy.
Yeah. Oh. Well, what you gonna do? We live in the end times.
I hope if my stuff ever gets that kind of famous, that Jackie will do it justice, because I'll be wearing a diaper with an IV in a wheelchair somewhere, unable to do a damn thing about it.
What do you mean? You don't remember signing over the film rights to me already for everything you make? That was
Yeah,
in
I'm
the
pretty sure
contract I had
that's.
you sign the other day.
I haven't signed shit except Jackie's permission slips lately.
Yeah.
He slipped one in, did he?
Yep.
Because he don't want the responsibility. He's gonna be too busy doing his own shit. It's like I ain't making my old man's movies. I got my own movies to make.
I'm selling them all to Brian, and he's adapting them to adult films.
Yeah, well, if you make a really successful movie, someone will make a parody of it, and then someone will make a
Fuck that! I'll make the parody of it. It'll be the normal version because Brian will have already turned it into an adult film, starring I don't know, Who's important these days? Brian, who's important these days?
I think he left a while ago, but he probably heard porn and went, "Wait a minute, I got to turn on the computer."
Yeah.
He's got that dog hearing across the continent. One of my friends is talking about porn. I need to go online, find out which one it was.
He was only here 4 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's probably delivering someone's Naco, Rito, or something like that.
could be, could be.
I don't know. I don't know. Do you know what a Naco is?
No,
Uh, it's a plate of nachos crammed into a burrito.
I could get behind that. I've
Yeah.
been craving enchiladas. You ever had one of those?
Describe it.
It's like a wet burrito, but smaller, baked in the oven next to a like in a lasagna pan. You make a whole bunch of them.
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
covered
Yeah.
in sauce and cheese and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I know this. Man, I worked at a Mexican restaurant.
Okay. Uh, Taco Bell used to have the enchilada.
No. A real Mexican restaurant.
No. I was just in case you remember those because those were actually one of my favorite things on the Taco Bell menu. And then they
Mind you,
stopped.
I worked in the dish pit, so
So you saw, yeah, okay.
I was amazed when I found out people don't put olives with their tacos.
no, olives are not a thing. You get olives in Mexican restaurants owned by Indian people.
Ah, I like
Well,
having black olives on my
the
taco.
the enchilada actually was topped with like a couple of black olive slices.
Mm-hmm.
I like black olives. I like green olives too.
I love black olives too. One of my favorite pizzas is green olives, black olives, and hot peppers and sausage.
That doesn't sound too bad.
So, sometimes I replace the hot peppers with pineapple. The sweet and salty.
Uh-huh.
You used to have anchovies on there instead of the sausage, but a lot of pizza places stopped carrying fucking anchovies.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing an anchovy since like the '80s, to be honest, on a pizza. Because it used to be like you'd order a pizza with everything, but then of course, the follow up was but no anchovies. Because if you didn't, you'd get a pizza with everything, and there'd be little fish on it, and you'd be like, "Oh man!"
Yeah, I don't know. That's why they have the deluxe, so you don't make that mistake. Because it's all the core items except for the
Weird stuff.
weird stuff. Um,
And one of our favorite place to get pizza is Sam's Club. Actually, okay, thanks Raven for that refreshing bit of news. They had a deluxe pizza that was awesome, and now they don't do it anymore. Now all they got is the 3 meat and pepperoni and cheese, and it just is just not the same anymore.
Gray's Earth is a very delicate thing. You gotta be careful with that fear mongering, Raven. There's roughly 200 rocks that fly between the space between the Earth and the Moon every day. So,
Mhm.
And some of them are asteroids, some of them are comets, some of them are meteorites.
Some
A
of them are
good
the
chunk.
space aliens trying to check on us.
Some of them are shadow, like you say.
Mhm.
Um,
Because my secret lair is the Black Knight asteroid. That's where I beam up when I'm done with this show.
yeah, well, that's why you keep moving around that house is to avoid the people that actually live there.
If only.
If only.
Yeah.
If only. I'm gonna tell Jackie you said that.
Oh, he'll know who I'm talking about. Um,
Yeah, him.
no, not him, not him. Hey, what's up,
Hey, there's a nerd.
Raven and Nerds?
We were talking about you earlier.
Yeah, you guys had. It looked like you guys had a lot of fun last night over on Bear's show. I was busy writing, and did want to pass us under our satellites. Well, don't worry, Raven. Nerds will
Yeah.
just hit it with their tractor beam and wing it back out into space, and we'll be fine, right, nerds?
Uh, the satellites aren't out as far as you think, Raven. There's a whew, big gap there. So you want to just wrap her up?
Yeah, we're a minute over. I just wanted to do 3 hours because I do want to get back to writing, and now I'm freaking hungry for pizza. Thankfully, I've got some leftover homemade pizza in the fridge, and I will scarf that down. I will see you guys tomorrow Sunday. Hopefully, Jackie and I will pay a visit to Connell over on his show if he actually does one tomorrow afternoon, morning before my game. And hopefully, we'll see all you guys over there. And hopefully, we can get it back on the air, doing what he does best, which is what does he
Uh,
do best?
Smoke cigars, be
Make bad jokes.
mildly
Don't land.
depressive, and
You say mildly or manically depressive?
I was being polite.
Okay, so mildly.
And I don't know. I have no idea what he does. He is this much more competent than I am, though. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, that's fair. Take care, Mike. Say hi to Jen for us, and hopefully we'll get to hang out next weekend and play some Gonzo RPGing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to nap time tomorrow or today.
You'll think big gap when it causes a pole shift. Raven, I don't think you worded that quite the way you should have. Just saying, it's too many instances of me wanting to say phrasing in that one sentence, but you only get one
I'm
phrase.
going to say that's what she said.
Okay, there you have it, folks. We're going to say goodnight. Thanks for coming in. Nice to see you again, nerds. And hopefully you'll hang out with us not this week, but the next week when we do the Conspiracy Iceberg show. That's going to be a blast because we're diving into very, very uncharted waters with the next tier. And I'm actually looking forward to it. And I got to actually do some research on that. Take care, Raven. We'll see you guys all tomorrow in the game. Sunday evening won't be live,
Nap
but
time.
and then we'll join you all doing some more craziness over on Justin or Hungar's show Monday
Monday.
morning.
Yeah. Well, technically tomorrow for me.
Oh, it's already that. Okay,
Yeah.
so
It's
so
it's 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 12:33, bro.
so yeah. Everybody, go out there and go over to one of Hungar's videos and tell him to get his ass back on the camera, even if it's just you know
A half hour, an hour.
an hour would be an absolute joy. Uh,
Yeah.
no homo, but I miss the guy. I'm sure you guys do too.
Yeah.
With that said, I am going to bid you all farewell. Happy trails. I will see you guys